It was a chill, sunny day in some ancient-ass village where the NPCs were just doing their daily quests. But then, the whole vibe just got wrecked. A massive rumble shook the server, and the ground went crazy. Everyone freaked out, thinking it was a world-ending earthquake. The villagers were bugging out, asking each other, "Bro, you feel that? Is the server about to crash or something?" A maid balancing a whole laundry basket on her head to keep the fit clean was walking by a guard, and bam, another tremor hits. She drops the basket, saving the clothes, and yells at the guard, "Yo, for real, what is that noise?" The guard just scoffs, waving her off like she's bugging. He asks all like, "It ain't nothing, fam. Not worth your time?" He basically told her to bounce, but kinda nicely. But homegirl was not having it. His answer was mad sus. She ran up on him, demanding the tea, cause these tremors were definitely off the charts. Looking kinda stressed, the guard finally spills the young master Yu Hyun is taking a walk. The maid's jaw hit the floor. She gave him a look like he was spitting straight nonsense and said, "That is 100% cap, no way." But then, thud, another heavy tremor shook everything. The guard sighed, totally defeated, and opened the gate. "Go on, see for yourself," he said, and peep this, in the courtyard was a massive, super heavyweight dude in just his pants, barely even moving. Every single step he took was a mini earthquake that unleashed a whole river of sweat. He tried to take one more step, but his stamina bar was completely empty. It was a total L, and he face planted right into the dirt with a huge thud. Seeing his master go down, the guard totally panics and rushes over. But instead of a thanks bro, he gets a face full of rage. The young master had given him a strict order. "Don't you dare interfere with my grand." The guard backed up, looking awkward, knowing he messed up big time. The young man, with some insane willpower, forces himself up, cursing his own useless body. The tension was so real his pants literally ripped, showing off his white underwear. Bro, the embarrassment was peak. But check out the look on his face. Even with the wardrobe malfunction, his eyes were blazing with pure grit. He refused to give up. He was pouring a titanic effort into every single painful step. Yuan takes a deep breath and clenches his fist. To a normal person, he is just walking. But for him, this was a straight-up legendary achievement. Then, out of nowhere, a mosquito spots a free meal on the big guy's neck. It lands, sips a little blood, and that tiny bit of damage was all it took. The young master's HP hit 0, and he collapsed again, sending another shockwave through the ground. He was so over this. He hated this body that got taken out by a literal bug bite. It was like trying to play a game on nightmare mode with a totally nerfed character. He watched his guard running over, screaming his head off. But my guy was locked in. He had to overcome this weak-ass body to save the entire Murim world. See, this dude ain't just some rich kid. His real name is Jyn Wigan, and he's a regressor sent back to the past to change history. Sounds wild, right? Because everything looks peaceful for now, but he knows the future. Soon, the Murim world is going to get hit with straight-up chaos. A top-tier villain is coming to unite all the dark sects and just paint the world red. In his first life, all the sects pulled up like the Avengers to fight this unknown baddie. But spoiler alert, they got absolutely bodied. Completely wiped out. It was a total GG for the good guys. Engel, the villain, was kinda cold with it. Uniting the Murim is no easy feat. But because of all that drama, Jyn lost his parents and was left to survive all alone in a messed up world. He was living like a stray dog, fighting on the streets just to feel something. But his whole life flipped the day he met his legendary masters. The King of Swords himself, Namgung, scooped him up. At the time, Jyn was naive, thinking bet my life's about to be on easy street. Nah fam, he was dead wrong. His training was just straight up torture sessions. Get a load of this crazy stuff. They tied the poor kid upside down and tickled him. Then they let a bunch of angry, venomous snakes loose on him while his only weapon was a torch. Talk about a rough start. They threw him in water with heavy rocks tied to his legs. They chucked real swords at him to teach him how to dodge. They left him to freeze in the snow and then roasted him over a fire like a shish kebab. So, why all the abuse? Because these so-called teachers wanted Jyn to be the one to stop the future chaos. They did whatever they wanted, saying he had to suffer because he was young. But hey, the results were legit. He got a legendary physique out of the deal. After surviving that hellish training arc, my boy mastered every single martial art they knew. Then the masters gave him his main quest, find the guy causing all the chaos and delete him from the server. They told him to find their younger selves from this timeline and train them. Just like they trained him, that was the mission. That was the whole reason Jyn Wigan came back to the past. And he was hyped for it. He was going to clap the villain, then retire and live that luxury life. But fate is a major troll. Instead of his op-as-heck body, he woke up in this useless vessel that can't even walk, let alone throw down. Back in the present, his new dad, Yuan John, was screaming at his boy, the imperial physician Chang Siono, basically ordering him to fix his son right now, while his dad was crying over him. Jyn, now in Yuan's body, was thinking, I didn't survive all that hell just to quit now. He has to survive, no matter what. But his body was like, nah, and he coughed up a whole mouthful of blood. His dad started bugging out, yelling, "Son, are you good?" The doctor tried to treat him, but the dad just grabbed him by the collar, screaming, "You're a fraud, my son is in pain, do something." Meanwhile, Jyn is in his head, cooking up a comeback plan. Step 1, lose all this weight before the main story kicks off. Step 2, grind his martial arts skills like there's no tomorrow. But the most important mission, he had to get the pure ginseng before the villains could. It was kind of hard to focus, though, with these two old dudes beefing right in front of him. The doctor tried to explain. It's just some bad blood. Jyn was mentally begging them to just shut up so he could think. The doctor yelled, "Let the kid spit out the blood. It'll make him feel better. I promise." The dad shot back. "If this doesn't work, you recanceled permanently." Jyn was trying to remember the timeline. Did the villain get the ginseng 6 years from now? It's impossible to do math with all this background noise. The doctor clapped back. "Bro, I thought we were friends. Put some respect on my name. You should be thanking me for saving his life," the doctor yelled, but the dad was too deep in his feelings, grabbing the doctor again and threatening him, completely failing the vibe check. Jyn tried to calculate how much time he had left and realized he's only got 6 months. He finally snapped and screamed at them, "Shut up, you old farts." The whole room went dead silent. The doctor was just standing there, shook by the disrespect, but the father, he ran over and gave his son a massive hug. He was just hyped that his boy was finally lucid. Jyn instantly figured out this crying old man hugging him like a lost puppy was his new dad. But in all his excitement, the old man was squeezing so hard, he was literally cutting off his air supply. For some reason, the dad shot a death glare at the doctor, who was just blushing, even though he totally called it that the kid would wake up. Suddenly, Jyn switched up his whole vibe and spoke respectfully to his father. The dad instantly turned into the sweetest guy ever, asking, "What is it, my son?" Barely able to stand, Jyn said, "I want to take a walk." The dad's mind was absolutely blown. The loving father immediately went way over the top, bring the 4-seater chair, get the towels. 4 huge jack dudes walked in carrying a super fancy sedan chair. These guys were built like tanks, which they needed to be to carry the young master. Jyn was internally like, "Bruh, are you for real?" He didn't count getting carried around as taking a walk. He politely turned it down, saying, "I'd rather walk on my own." The father immediately called his servant, Huang Chong, to help Jyn stand up and walk to the door. The old man couldn't believe what he was seeing. His son was actually walking. Even the servant helping him didn't believe it was real until he felt the dude swayed on him. Tears just started pouring down his face. They hadn't seen Yuan walk on his own 2 feet in 10 years. Honestly, seeing how much his dad babied him, it's no surprise his new body got so weak. But as he stepped outside, all the villagers stared in shock and awe. The glow-up officially starts now. Drop a like if you were ready for it. 8 fam, smash that like button if you've ever been judged. Our main character was shook by the crowd's reaction. He takes 4 steps and they reacting like he performed a miracle. Please. The real grind hasn't even started. If he can unlock his old martial arts memories, every single one of these background characters is getting deleted. He went beast mode for half a month, walking till his legs were cooked. But now, it's time for the ultimate weigh-in event. The disrespect is unreal. They literally weighed him against pigs. Yu-hun sat on one side, while Hang Chong herded a whole squad of hogs onto the other. Talk about a major violation. The drama went crazy when the rope holding the pigs just snapped. But our boy didn't even flinch. Pure rage mode activated. Was all that cardio for nothing? He can clap the final boss like this. Then, a massive light bulb went off in his head. The henchman wasn't just a name. It was the title for the dude who wrecked the entire martial arts world. Full-blown panic mode kicked in. He could remember the villainess face or his actual name. His old masters used to spam this info until his ears bled. But now his brain was drawing a total blank. The memory file was totally corrupted. Hun Chong saw his young master stressing hard and holding a peglet like a teddy bear, dropped a hard truth bomb. Boss, burning fat is way harder than any raid boss. The servant tried to help, suggesting they just nerf the sugar. Let's get you on that high-protein grind set, master. Just hit the cardio and weights for a year, and you'll be lean a whole year. Nah, our boy wasn't hearing that noise. He was already deep in his own 50 chess simulation. The new soul in this body was trying to hack into the old memories. He knew the villain was heading to Ain province for that rare chase ginseng, so the play was to camp there and jump him. Without that power-up, the enemy would be a total lightweight. The main character started daydreaming about standing over the agent of chaos, flexing on him like a true Chad. In his mind, he was already the GOAT, making his opponent kneel. But to Hyan Chong, the young master looked like he finally snapped, and was about to get clapped. The servant tried to wave his hand, but Yu-hun was gone, totally zoned out, plotting how to wipe out Anhui's crew, and save the whole server from chaos. Once the mission was complete, he could just chill in paradise. In his head, he'd already solo-leveled, bodied the bad guys, and saved the girl. He started laughing like a total maniac celebrating a W that hadn't even happened yet. The poor servant just hugged the pig for dear life, thinking the diet finally broke his master's brain. The servant hit the dash button, sprinting at light speed to grab the Imperial Doctor before he took the heat for this mess. Our main character didn't even see him go. He was too locked in on the meta. 10 years to get ripped, no chance. The world was on a timer. He needed a cheat code, a glitch, something to give him an instant body transformation. Suddenly, a dust cloud poofed into existence. The servant was booking it back with the Imperial physician, screaming the young master's name like his life depended on it. Yu-hun locked eyes with Chong Song. This wasn't just some random doctor. This dude became the Imperial physician before hitting level 30, outskilling every other healer in the game. By age 50, he was inventing his own medical skills to our boy. This guy was a walking treasure chest of solutions. The doc immediately apologized, thinking the workout was a sign of madness. Yuhun blew past the apology and got straight to the point. Yo, for real, are you the top healer on the central server or not? The doctor was totally confused but nodded. Then our main character dropped the quest. I need a potion to delete all this weight. I gotta drop serious pounds in 1 month period. The doctor was floored. Hold up. The young master was actually trying to lose weight. He thought my man was just wandering around bugging out. Looking deep into his eyes, Changxian got real deep, fam. The problem isn't to your body, it's your heart. That rejection must have hit different. Hut. He shook the main character's hand. I got meds, but it's a slow burn. When our boy said he wanted it done in 6 months, the doctor laughed. Try 3 years, plus you gotta live at the gym. 3 years, the main character slapped him clean across the face. Urea fraud. The doctor folded instantly. Okay, I was a fool to think normal strats would work for you. But he had one last ace up his sleeve. It's gonna be rough, but there is a way. Our boy narrowed his eyes at the sis doctor. 8, spill the tea. What's the strat? The next day, they pulled up to a massive waterfall. The game plan, use the water to do some low-gravity training. The main character was hyped, finally, a shortcut to the glow-up. He was ready to pull up and grind here every single day. But the servants who had to carry his heavy ride, they were passed out on the grass, completely wrecked every day, bro. We were gonna die. They wondered what kind of curse their master was on. Life was so much easier when he was a shut-in who never rolled out of bed. They did not sign up for this hardcore fitness journey. The main character carefully stepped into the pond. Oh snap, I actually feel lighter. He waded in deeper, asking should I keep going. This feels like a cheat code. Then boom, sudden drop, the ground just vanished from under him. He went from wading to drowning in 0.1 seconds flat. Hyun-chang was on the bank just smiling, thinking look at him go, he's growing up so fast. Meanwhile, the main character was sinking like a brick, screaming bubbles at his clueless servants. The servant was just vibing, thinking, wow, he has a natural in the water, totally oblivious to the fact that his master was about to get deleted. Finally, a porter yelled, yo, that's the deep end. He's drowning over there. Only then did the servant realize something was seriously wrong. He ran to the edge and covered his eyes in horror. The main character felt like an anchor using his last bit of air before blacking out completely. In his daze, a flashback sequence triggered. He was a ghost, watching the original body's memories, a small hut, a woman, and a baby. It was a memory unlocked. That was baby Yu-hun. Only 2 years old, damn, the main character thought. I was low-key kinda cute back in the day. He realized the woman was his mother, but this was a horror movie scene. She was coughing up blood, looking desperate, whispering, my child has to live. The main character looked for someone to save her, but the tragedy just kept playing. The weak mother held her child, tears streaming down until her health bar hit 0, and she faded away. The nightmare wasn't over. Back in reality, his huge adult body, weighing over 200 pounds, was slamming into the bottom of the lake. Back on land, Hyun-chang was stomping and crying, I can swim, I'm so useless. Suddenly, splash, a woman burst out of the water, dragging the young master behind her. Talk about a clutch save. She had super strength to haul his heavy self to the surface. Hyun-chang gasped, wait, why are you here solo? Where's the young mistress? She wiped the water from her face like a total boss. Lady Chenna said save the big guy first. Now stop staring and help me. Go ahead and comment servant down below for this absolute legend. Yo, Pops showed zero hesitation, diving straight in to save his kid. And while he's over there shaking Hyun like a ragdoll, the whole squad hits the deck, praying they don't take it, absolutely bodied by the boss rage. The big boss was demanding answers before he started handing out one-way tickets to the afterlife. Bro was literally radiating heat like a volcano, and his goons were quaking in their boots, feeling the grim reaper breathing down his neck. Hyun-chang instantly snitched on the doctor. He was all like, it was his idea to go swimming. The doc just stared at him, absolutely speechless. Like, dude, I thought we were boys. But Hyun-chang straight up doubled down, swearing he had nothing to do with this mess. You could literally see Daddy use target lock shift, and he screamed the doctor's name with enough force to shatter windows. The patriarch went full-on berserker mode, grabbing his sword to turn someone into sashimi. But peep this. The tall guard in the back was low-key cheesin', finding this whole chaotic scene hilarious. The terrified doctor tried to reason with his old friend, but the boss wasn't having any of it. He just kept roaring about how his precious son was almost taken from him. It got so bad the guard had to physically restrain the boss to stop a homicide. Then, right in the middle of all this chaos, a total queen walks in and announces her return. She drops the bomb that Hyun is completely unconscious. The guard holding the dad back is like, yo, shut your mouth. You were just making this angry Papa Bear even angrier. Instead, she turns to the doctor, the same one who's been treating the kid for a whole decade, for his professional opinion. But out of nowhere, Dad leaps up and starts screaming accusations at the Namgung clan. And here as the tea, our main character got rejected by that same clan. And that's the real reason he's in this mess. He was just trying to lose weight for a major glow up, and the doctor was giving him some workout tips. The truth hits the patriarchs like a freight train, and he grabs his head in despair. He was so blinded by his own rage, he totally forgot about his son's broken heart. But the sister steps in with the clutch save. She's like, if he wants to get fit, let him swim, just not in a dangerous river. And just like that, problem solved. She flashes this killer smile. Say what's up to you, Jong-hai. The big sister later, while our main character is recovering, he can help but think, for real, not a single person jumped in to help me. He lets out a heavy sigh as all the pieces finally click into place. He realizes that despite all the drama, the original owner of this body grew up without a mother. And that explains why Pops is so ridiculously overprotective. He already lost the love of his life, his wife. Now he's terrified his son is going to disappear on him too. Our guy is straight up pissed at the original Hyen for letting himself go. He calls him a total loser because moving this body is a living nightmare. We were talking zero muscle, stiff joints, and just pure flab. Suddenly, the door flies open and walks his sister and the maid, the one who actually pulled his butt out of the river. He's about to be like, new phone, who dis, when a massive headache slams him with a memory flash. That's his sister. He is completely shook by how ridiculously beautiful she is. Talk about winning the genetic lottery. The maid steps forward to help him out of bed. Hun tries to wave her off, thinking to himself, girl please. Even the super buff guards struggle to lift me. But then, bam, she lifts him up like he weighs absolutely nothing. Our main character's jaw hits the floor as she casually says, let's get going, young master. So one sunny day, they take our boy out for a ride. The guys carrying his chair are literally humming and have a bounce in their step. And our guy is just sitting there like, why is everyone in such a good mood? But when they finally arrive, our main character shouts in total shock. He demands to know what in the world is going on. He sees a whole army of workers hauling massive rocks around a giant pit. Hyen waddles off his sedan chair and asks the crew, Ayo, what are you guys building here? When he sees the sheer size of the hole, he starts to panic, thinking they were digging a grave for him. But just then, his sister rides in on a horse, looking like an absolute boss. She's super hyped that the project is finished. Also, he'll stay away from that dangerous river. The workers start flooding the massive pit, and suddenly it all makes sense. It wasn't a grave. It was his own private swimming pool. All the workers crowd around, staring at the young master like he's an animal at the zoo, because none of them have ever seen him walk before. And then they just start clapping and cheering for him. Our main character thanks them, but he feels super awkward that they re-celebrating him for literally just standing. He can figure out why they all smiling. His dad totally overworks these guys, right? So shouldn't they hate his guts? Instead, they re-treating him like he's Sessa King. It's like they were brainwashed or something. Our guy figures his old man must have dropped some serious cash to buy this much loyalty. Just then, Huang Chang comes charging in, yelling at the workers to get lost. But he slams on the brakes the second he lays eyes on the buff maid, Zhonghai. Oh yeah, my dude is crushing hard. He immediately puffs out his chest, trying to look all tough for his crusher. The sudden vibe switch leaves our main character completely baffled. Chong then announces the pool will be ready by noon. Hun uses this chance to ask, so, for real, what does my dad actually do for a living? The servant just laughs and says, what s with a sudden urge to hear me hype up your old man? And then he goes into full-on fanboy mode. The master is a legendary scholar, a symbol of absolute truth. Our main character just has a flashback of his dad calling him his little peanut while doing a weird dance. He literally can believe they were talking about the same person, but apparently during a massive famine. Papa Yu opened up the family asphalts and fed the entire neighborhood. The entire region treats him like a living legend. Our main character kinda tunes out the rest of the hype speech, thinking to himself, okay, maybe the old man is way cooler than I gave him credit for. And then he does the math. Rich dad plus beloved community hero equals the ultimate easy mode for life. He literally doesn't have to lift a finger to win. Realizing he's basically hit the life lottery, he cuts the servant off right as the dude is swearing eternal loyalty to the patriarch. Everyone just stares at him like he's lost his mind, but he just starts laughing his head off. Now it's time to get to work. Hun jumps into his new pool to finally start training. When he surfaces, he asks Huang Chang to bring him the goods. The servant struggles to even lift a massive stone block attached to a chain, asking, you mean this absolute unit? He straps that insane weight right to his leg. He knows he could just chill and live the easy life. But there's a traitor lurking somewhere close, by who could ruin everything. He has to get strong, and he has to do it fast. Huang Chang tosses the stone into the pool, and it drags our boy straight to the bottom like an anchor. 8. Quick lore drop for you guys in this world. Energy pathways close up as you get older, so you gotta start training as a baby. But the body he's in, it's way past its expiration date for that. He can't even sit in the lotus position because his belly gets in the way. So he just stands on the bottom. Normally fixing a body this messed up would take like 1,000 years of non-stop grinding. But our main character is a certified genius. He's got a secret cheat code technique ready for a hopeless case just like this one. The Heart of Spiritual Energy technique. Smash that like button if you think this is going to be epic. He begins to draw in power from all 4 directions. Instead of using the blocked energy core, he forces that power directly into his heart and blood vessels. His legendary awakening starts right now. Don't you forget to subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. Yes, the grind finally hit the jackpot. A smug grin spread across his face. Guy, that primo spiritual energy came flooding his system, totally replacing that weak sauce he had before. He dialed in, sensing his senses with the flow of the water. Spinning like a human tornado, he put his new moves to the test against the insane pressure. Time to bring out the big guns, the Shaolin's 100-foot mystical fist. KM moved so op it could smash boulders from over 100 feet away. He started cycling through legendary skills, chanting some ancient power words. The 8 drunken immortals step, the Namgung clan's infinite sword. My guy was going full on try-hard mode. Meanwhile, Hong Chong was up on the mountain, literally dying of boredom waiting for his boss. He never thought the young master would go this hard underwater. He bet the kid would be rage quit after 3 days, tops, but nah. The dude had been on a non-stop grind for a whole month, strapping a whole boulder to his leg. Huang Chong thought he de-lost his marbles. But now, it was the moment of truth. The final way in. He stared down those scales like they were his final boss. Huang Chong started loading actual pigs onto the other side, while our main character had been training like a demon on a mission. He stepped up, heart thumping, mom's spaghetti, and if he hadn't burned off that fat, his whole comeback story was about to get canceled right here. Everyone held their breath for real. The needle was wobbling back and forth, just teasing them, guess, and then, bam, dead center. The straps held, let's go, we are in business, fam. A single manly tear rolled down his face. He actually did it. Dai Hong Chong couldn't handle the hype and straight up tackled his young master with a hug. Caught up in the moment, our main character hugged back and almost turned the poor guy's slungs into dust. Go ho, my bad bro. Realizing his new strength, he jumped back, but the servant knew the deal. He was just hyped that his master was winning. With the pigs onking a victory anthem in the back. They knew the struggle was over. No more ripping his pants. Every time he tried to sit, picking up the piglets, the servant started cracking up. The dudes carrying your sedan chair are gonna be so hyped. Their backs are saved. But then Huang Chong got a little too comfortable with the banter. Peeps used to say you were adopted because you were so massive. Our main character shot him a look that screamed, "Bruv, stop talking before I delete you." But this guy had zero chill. He started going on about how INS fiancé bounced just because he was a little chubby oof, major emotional damage. The whole vibe just went straight to ice cold. Realizing he totally messed up, the servant started bugging Crow. Shoot, the patriarch needs me. And my dude dipped out of there faster than the speed of light. Left all alone, our main character lets out a sigh. Sure, he's got spirit energy and lost some alibis, but this body, it's still straight up trash compared to when he was in his prime. Normal internal energy takes ages of boring training. But spirit energy, that's the ultimate cheat code. You just munch on magical beasts and spirit herbs to power level like crazy. Without those super rare items, you be hard stuck at a low level forever. No matter how much you grained, he needed that mystic herb his enemy Scoon found. But the clock was ticking. It pops up on Mount Hao in 6 months. And my dude needed to power up like yesterday. He was literally daydreaming about chowing down on spirit energy snacks. Then out of nowhere, a doctor rolls up with a bowl. Young master, your body must be wrecked from all that intense training. He offered up a medicinal tonic. Our main character didn't even let him finish his sentence. For yoink, he snatched that bowl and downed it in one epic gulp. I even added a 15-year-old ginseng root. The doctor tried to explain the premium ingredients, but our boy was already chugging it like it was his last can of soda. The doctor awkwardly asked for his bowl back, but the kid was already deep in the zone, meditating to absorb every last drop of juice from that broth. It was a small boost, not gonna lie, but hey, it was something. Grin started creeping across his face. His chaos core was finally waking up from its nap. He kept downing potions and turned his daily walk into a hardcore workout. He even tied up his silky smooth hair. It's getting real when the man bun makes an appearance. Huang Chong was on the sidelines, acting as the ultimate hype man. And just like that, another month flew by. Jan, you bet our boy was back underwater, breaking the laws of physics again. He was spamming palm strikes so hard the pool turned into a literal whirlpool. Standing on the shore, Huang Chong watched these massive waves just crash. Jiao, no freaking way. He was shaking his head, totally in denial. There's no way his master, the proud pig, could pull off a god-tier move like that, right? Who you callin' a pig? A deep voice boomed from behind him. Pierre the servant, with zero survival skills, just chirped, my young master. Huge mistake. He whipped around and saw the patriarch, Lord Yung himself, looking absolutely terrifying. Did you just throw shade at my son? The patriarch went into full-on protective dad mode. His aura exploded, and he unsheathed his sword to slice the dude in half. Luckily, a green-haired administrator jumped in to stop the TKO. With a pitying smile, the admin saved the servant's life. Come on, guy, you look exhausted. Go, take a break in the warehouse. The servant was crying tears of joy for not getting bodied. But the patriarch had already moved on. His eyes were glued to the water. Did you see that wave just now? At first, the admin had no idea what all the hype was about. But seeing the dad's face light up like a Christmas tree, he realized they were talking about that shock wave. The admin was still skeptical, though, that weak kid used a technique. I doubt it. Sure, the dad was kinda bummed his son wasn't a bookworm like him, but if his boy wanted to throw hands, bet he'd support him to the end of the world. The admin got a super bad feeling. What is this old fox plotting now? Hey, he didn't have to wait long to find out. Get me some ink and paper. Stat, the patriarch yelled. He was writing a letter straight to the imperial court. Later, he called his son over and dropped a thick book right in his hands. The Guide to Divine Paradise. Our main character stared at it, all confused. Dad, what is this? Air beaming with pride, the father dropped a massive bomb. Gay, it's a legendary martial arts manual. A gift from the emperor himself. The main character just stared at his dad. He knew his old man was a big deal. But this meant he was basically a VIP in the royal court. The father just chuckled like it was no biggie. I just casually mentioned you were into fighting, and bam, they sent over the best manual they had. Wild, right? The admin rolled his eyes so hard he could probably see his brain. Lies, all lies. Gary, you spammed the emperor with sob story letters every day until he finally caved. He basically guilt-tripped the leader of the entire nation. But hold up, cause there's s'more. The dad also went and hired a private tutor. And that master, it was the green-haired admin himself. Daedam Gonwoo, also known as our main character's brother-in-law. Let's go. The family training arc is officially on. Drop a fire emoji in the comments if you rehype. The damn clan wasn't some random dojo. They were the kings of the martial arts game in Hubei province. While Young was flexing about his elite bloodline, Hein just sighed, stressing about what to do next. Let's be 100, the head of the damn clan would be on his knees begging him for lessons. Not the other way around. There was zero chance this dude could teach him anything he hadn't already mastered in a past life. For like a hot second, he thought about dropping the bomb that he was the legendary Jyn Wigan reborn, but then he remembered his dad going beast mode on that doctor. Yeah, that's a hard pass on triggering him again. Yong and Jongwoo fist bumped, totally misreading the fire in the kid's eyes. They thought he was hyped to train. But nah, he was really plotting to use damn Jongwoo as an excuse for his insane power-up speed. If anyone got suspicious about his god-tier moves down the line, he'd just be like, oh, it's a secret technique from the Divine Paradise, flawless strat. All of a sudden, the kid drops to his knees, hitting his brother-in-law with the please accept this bow. Master, move. Watching this, his dad literally bit his lip to keep from crying happy tears. His son was finally acting like a normal person. Jongwoo let out an awkward laugh and told him to get up. But, yikes, the kid's legs totally seized up from moving too fast. What a buzzkill. The training from hell officially began. The master was screaming his lungs out, demanding the perfect stance. He kept sighing, wondering why this kid could even handle the tutorial level of martial arts. Even though Hyen was sweating buckets, the dude kept barking at him to do the moves again, thinking he was actually going too easy on the boy. The second our young master tried to ask something using brother-in-law, the guy snapped yelling, I ain't your family right now, you call me master. The boy corrected himself real quick. He couldn't care less about titles. He just wanted to skip the boring stuff and get to the advanced combos, arguing he needed the whole picture to get the technique down. Jongwoo called him a straight-up fool, lecturing him that without a solid foundation, he was nothing. He basically told the kid, how you gonna learn anything when you read this dense? That really ticked Hyen off. This dude really thought he was some kind of genius, just because our MC was playing along with his little power trip. After 10 days of playing nice, he decided the act was up. It was time to unleash the beast. Meanwhile, Jongwoo was still yapping about how this soft, spoiled kid thought the six-fist style was a joke. Even simple moves hold the laws of the universe, our MC clapped back. Then, he dropped the bomb. If you don't, hey, believe me. Let's throw hands right now using the six-fist technique. He challenged him to prove who was right, the dude obsessed with boring basics, or the G.O.T. who understood the core principles. Let us know in the comments who you were betting on. Jongwoo started chuckling, then burst out laughing like a maniac, scaring all the birds away. The idea of this weakling testing his skills was the funniest joke he'd heard all year. The young master casually picked his nose and asked, you scared, bro? Bullseye. Jongwoo's face turned beet red with rage. He started flexing that before he joined the U clan. He was a top dog from the Seven Dragons clan. Hyen kept poking the bear, saying, yo, if it's too much for you, you can just walk away. And that was it. Hook, line, and sinker. The reverse psychology worked like a charm. His brother-in-law accepted the duel but got way too cocky, claiming he was too op to go all out. He sealed his inner energy, and even tied one hand behind his back, giving the kid the first shot big. Hyen smirked, no takebacks. He instantly launched the Dragon Bird's flight, his body wrapped in a sick blue spirit energy as he went from 0 to 100. Jongwoo was just standing there expecting a light tap, but his eyes popped wide open at the last second. He barely dodged a strike that was way faster than anything he could be imagined. He was shook by how clean the kid's six-fist combo was. Even our MC had to admit, the dude lived up to his rep by dodging that first attack. But here is the problem. Hyen's spirit was strong, but his chubby, out-of-shape body was a mess. He couldn't drag this out. He had to end this fight before his legs gave out on him. Delivering the final blow, our MC quipped, real heavyweights should act like it. He slammed his teacher into the dirt, leaving the guy stuttering in absolute shock. As Hyan wound up for another smackdown, Jongwoo cried out, "Brother-in-law!" Our MC coldly shut him down. "I'm not your brother-in-law right now. I'm your master." Oof! Smash that subscribe button if that was the most savage comeback ever. Meanwhile, over at the front gate, Huang Chang was literally about to collapse from exhaustion. His rookie partner tried to get him to take a break, but my guy refused to go against the patriarch's orders. Suddenly, a voice cuts in, "You've been half asleep all day. Your security game is looking pretty weak right now." Someone who knew about his demotion stepped out from the shadows, pointing out that this guard duty looked more like a paid vacation. It was the young master himself. He said that for a punishment, Huang Chang was getting a whole lot of nap time. The guard just blinked, stunned to see Hyan there. Like, wasn't he supposed to be in training hell? Our MC puffed out his chest and declared, "That dude isn't on my level to train me." He was pretty proud of the beatdown and wondered if his so-called master was up from his dirt nap yet. Oh, he was awake. Alright, laid up in a hospital bed, groaning because his whole body ached. His wife was just looking at him like he was crazy. "You seriously expect me to believe my sweet, fragile, chubby brother did this to you?" Jongwoo just gave up trying to explain. He just whimpered and asked her to scratch his head since his arms were wrapped up like a mummy. But then, she started jumping around cheering. I knew it. I knew my brother was a martial arts prodigy. She totally ghosted her husband, who was literally crying in pain, begging for a scratch. Jung Hai politely bounced, leaving the broken man all alone, chirping, "You'll feel better after a nap. Honey, absolutely savage." Jongwoo was officially done with this crazy family that treated the kid like he was a living legend. At the same time, some high-ranking patriarch from another province just rolled into town. His servant thought it over and was like, "Master, we should probably stay out of this mess," but the patriarch insisted he had to handle it personally. Since Mr. Yu had asked so nicely, he didn't have a choice. He ordered his assistant Choksun to get ready for a road trip to the super remote beggar sect. Back to our MC. Some time has passed, and he has shed some serious weight walking on his own for the first time. He stepped out to see a world that was still beautiful before the chaos era wrecked everything. He stood on the sidelines just watching regular people gossip and laugh, living their peaceful lives without a clue what was coming. Little kids were running around, tripping over people and just enjoying a childhood with no fear. Our boy couldn't help but smile. It was even better than he imagined. In his past life, smiles were pretty much extinct. He remembered when the minion of chaos took over, shadows ate the light, laughter was gone, and there was no rest, joy impossible when you were using corpses as tents to stay out of the rain. Hyan remembered some old poem about the cold soaking your sleeves in winter. Back then, he had actually hoped they would just banish him somewhere far away to escape that living nightmare, but he was back with the power to save the whole damn world. Suddenly, the crowd spots the young master and straight up mobs him. They were all like, "Yo, bro, where's your fancy ride while you walkin'?" Some girl just starts screaming her head off, "Why all get over here, it's a miracle. Young Master Yu-ho is actually using his legs." The young master was getting totally weirded out by all the NPCs going wild around him. He felt like an exhibit at the zoo, with everyone just staring. A nice lady stepped up, trying to hook him up with some sweet persimmons. Hun peeped the snacks, and his soul was screaming. But he had to pass because the diet grind is real then. Another sweet grandma tried to flex her new silk collection on him, offering to whip him up some fresh new threads. It turned into a straight-up meet and greet. Everyone started showering our boy with gifts. We were talking fancy vases, wild weapons, and even livestock. His inventory was about to explode. He was totally swamped. Hun started pleading with them to take a chill pill. He yelled that he just came out to get some fresh air, not to become a one-man U-Haul. But then, he peeped their legit happy faces. Yo, these people actually cared about him. His heart totally went soft, and he couldn't help but crack a smile back. Suddenly, his inner system started blowing up his notifications. For just wanted to live that low-key life, he got super salty, because if this hype squad kept swarming him, he'd never get to live a normal life. But then, the whole vibe just flipped. Hun felt a major disturbance in the force. Even with the cheerful crowd gassing him up, his spidey senses were going off, telling him someone was creeping in the shadows. He knew he was being watched, but he shook it off, thinking he was just tripping. After all, he was just a thick boy who could barely walk a while ago. Sensing a high-level presence should be way out of his league. While the creeper was slipping, Hun moved like a ninja. He snuck up right behind the guy, dropped a hand on his shoulder and was like, "Yo, you lost or something?" The spy totally freaked and threw a sucker punch. Luckily, Hun's body had that muscle memory. He blocked the hit, but he could feel the power behind it. This dude was no joke. The throwdown caused a massive scene. The alarm went off, and the townspeople rushed over to protect their boy. They found Hun passed out on the ground and immediately screamed for a healer. The attacker knew he screwed up big time and dipped. The mob connected the dots, realized this rando was why their hero was down, and started screaming to catch the guy. But hold up, Hun snaps right back up. He goes full on rage mode, demanding to know where the enemy went. He was ready to send that dude to the shadow realm. The crowd was straight up stunned, seeing the young master this heated. Hun clocks that he has scaring the locals. He straightens up and puts on a brave face, capping hard that he saw good, even though his body was screaming in pain. He wiped the dust off his face and glared in the direction the assassin bounced. That wasn't he just some random attack. The guy was a legit martial artist, for real. But it made zero sense. Why would a high-tier fighter be camping in a noob zone like Amping Prefecture? This place was just one piece of the world he was supposed to save. Hun headed home with a new fire in him. He needed to get on that training grind ASAP. Passersby watched him go, feeling a whole new vibe. They whispered that the young master was just built different, and the patriarch didn't need to worry about him no more. He basically speedrun the tutorial for spirit energy circulation. Now for the main quest, losing the weight and gathering some serious intel. Hun figured if he wanted the hot goss on the young ginseng, he had to link up with the beggar's sect. Meanwhile, back at the crib, the patriarch was having a deep talk with his daughter. She was dropping major wisdom, saying that brains and brawn go hand in hand. The dad was getting hyped, thinking his son had finally unlocked his genius genes and would become a legendary general. He was already plotting to get the boy a government gig. But his sister, keeping it 100, told her dad to pump the brakes. It was way too soon to be planning the kid's entire future. The dad tried to clap back, saying he just wanted to support his son, since the kid clearly had talent in martial arts. Talk about classic helicopter parent vibes. Anhui tried to explain that rushing him is a bad look, considering the boy just started walking again. Then she dropped a truth bomb, asking if he was trippin' because of the drama with the Namgung clan. She sighed, admitting that the clan probably curved their marriage proposal because of Hun's trash reputation. But it could also just be that Namgung was interested in romance at all. That girl wanted to become a solo martial arts god, not some housewife seeing her father's sad face. Anhui realized this went way deeper than just a rejected proposal. The patriarch confessed that if he couldn't lock this down, he'd never forgive himself for what happened to Hun. The guilt was eating him alive. Even though his daughter told him mom's death wasn't his fault, the man couldn't let it go. He believed he was the real target that day, and he should have been the one who got clapped. Meanwhile, two sus guys in a carriage were cooking up a plan. They were spilling the tea about how Hun was supposedly lazy, overweight, and just laid in bed all day, total scrub energy. According to the rumors, they heard he had a whack personality too, but that's exactly why they were there. As the carriage rolled up, they peeked out like a couple of creepers. Hun was their target. They were on that know your enemy vibe, so they never take an L. And get this, one of the men was Hanyu, the patriarch of the Namung clan himself. He wanted to scout the boy personally so he could reject the marriage with zero regrets. Suddenly, Hun let out a massive sneeze. You know what that means. Someone was definitely talking trash behind his back. The young master arrived at the slums, looking for the beggar sect. He scanned the area, spooking a stray cat, but the place was a ghost town. Like, where are all the homeless people at? This was the hood. It should be crawling with them. He was totally confused. Suddenly, a dude in ragged clothes walked up and asked him what he was looking for. Hun played it cool, saying he was just vibing, but then asked straight up, "Yo, where are all the beggars at?" The man laughed, thinking it was a joke. Apparently, there hadn't been any beggars in Amping for 20 years, and the reason Hun's own dad, the patriarch, was such a G that he built homes and gave jobs to all the homeless people. Hun realized his dad was suffering from success. He fixed poverty, but wrecked the spy network. Hun remembered his master's lesson: birds listen by day, and rats listen by night. But let's be real, regular animals are useless for actual intel. The real MVPs of information are the beggars. They have eyes and ears everywhere, blending into the background like they read just part of the scenery. Living in the shadows, they formed the ultimate information highway, the beggars sect. Hun face-palmed hard. If there were no beggars here, there was no branch. His whole plan was falling apart. The ragged man saw our boy panicking and realized this kid wasn't just a tourist. He actually knew about the secret underground world. Meanwhile, the Namung patriarch was sipping tea with some mysterious stranger. He knew a big shot like this wouldn't travel all this way just to hang out with a nobody. He knew exactly what they wanted: some dirt on Hun to destroy the marriage talks. And plot twist, the stranger was Ohuan, the head of the local beggars sect branch. The beggar king knew the score. These rich dudes wanted info to justify rejecting the Yu family's proposal. This was standard business, but suddenly, Ohuan apologized. He said he couldn't give them the tea on Hun. That info was on lockdown. He needed permission from headquarters. The patriarch frowned, thinking the guy was just trying to jack up the price. But the beggar waved his hand. The higher-ups had classified Hun's file as heavenly status. A lackey standing nearby tried to talk smack, saying, "Why is the son of a random bookworm getting VIP protection?" But the beggar king silenced him with a single wave of his hand. "You do not question the system model." Made it crystal clear, if the old head of the Yu clan started bugging, it wasn't just the branch family getting smoked. The main house would be on the chopping block. Too. Hansu knew money talks, so he dropped a fat sack of gems on the table like a G. He gave the dude a hard stare, basically saying, "Io, name your price, I got you." But the beggar just cackled, looking at him like he was speaking another language. He leaned back, cheesing, and was like, "Nah, fam, I need the green light from the main branch, or it's a no-go." That's when the Namgung patriarch decided he was done playing around. He pulled the ultimate flex, slipping off his jade ring and slapping it on the table with a look that could kill. The whole room went dead silent. That wasn't just some jewelry. It was a legit imperial ring. Rockin' that meant you had the whole Namgung clan watching your back. His son was freaking out, screaming, "Dad, you trippin'. You re-giving him that." Meanwhile, outside, Yuhan pulls up to the beggar's sect HQ. He peeped the fancy building and was like, makes sense. No one could find it. This spot looked way too bougie for a homeless crew. Our main character was about to stroll in like he ran the place, but the bouncer at the door shut that down real quick. He aimed a whole sword at Hyun's face, calling him fatty and telling him to dip, cause Vips were chopping it up inside. Hyun was instantly heated. This random NPC was coming at him sideways, calling him names. The absolute nerve was off the charts, especially since they never even met. But he had to chill. He ain't some random dude anymore. He asked the young master of the Yu family. So, he threw on a fake smile and politely asked the guard to lower his steel before things got ugly. The guard was not feeling the vibe. He waved his arm, telling none to bounce. Then he crossed the line, calling our boy a pig and telling him to scram before he got embarrassed. That was the final straw. Hyun's eyes went ice cold. He calmly told the guard that the only one getting embarrassed and spitting up blood was going to be him. Hyun spun around, grinning like a shark that just smelled blood in the water. At that exact same moment, his dad was walking into the old tiger's room, getting the full red carpet treatment. Back inside, the beggar was staring at the ring, completely floored. He couldn't process it. Who drops a legendary item just to block a marriage? Was the beef really that deep? But Hansu was in deal-closing mode. He didn't just offer the ring. He was ready to stack even more treasure on top to get it done. The beggar knew he just hit the lottery. He took a sip of tea to play it cool, and gave the nod. He slid over a secret book with every single detail on Yuhao's life, right up to yesterday's mess. Before letting it go, the beggar gripped the book tight. He looked Hansu dead in the eye and warned him, "If anyone finds out I gave you this, we both finished? No cap." Hansu snatched the book, swearing on his clan's name to stay silent. The beggar left him to it and went to hit up headquarters about his massive payday. But just as Hansu opened the first page, his son heard a ruckus outside. Being nosy, he went to the window to see what was poppin', and saw something he did not expect. The fatty was throwing hands with the security guard. The guard just took a nasty shot to the dome, realizing way too late that he totally slept on the big guy's S-speed. The guard had to give it up. The kid was schmovin'. Hyun had dodged the endless sky sword without even using his aura, but Hyun just laughed, clowning him like, "You really named that weak swing endless sky." Yo, that insult hit on a different level. Disrespecting a clan's martial arts in the Murim world. That's a straight-up violation. Hyun wasn't done cooking him, though. He clarified he wasn't dissing the S-tier technique. He was dissing the user. You could swing that sword for 1,000,000 years. Hyun roasted, and you'd still be straight garbage with it. Hyun gave him an out, telling him to just give up. He knew this guard was repping Namgung, so he offered a rare bit of mercy. "Say you were sorry now, and I might let you keep your teeth." The guard completely snapped. His pride was cooked, so he lunged at Hyun, screaming about how a fat tongue dared to insult his noble clan. The blade stopped a single millimeter from Hyun's neck. No more warnings, the guard growled, but Hyun had already peeped it. The Namgung clan threw the first punch. Hyun straight up vanished, dodged the slash, and buried a fist in the guy's stomach. The impact was brutal. The sword went flying, and our main character snatched the guard by his hair. "I told you to move." Hyun whispered, "You should be listened. My guy." Smack! He slapped the disrespect right off the guard's face. He dropped the punk to the ground and kept the combo going. A crowd started forming, gassing up the street fight. "If your clan didn't teach you manners," Hyun yelled between slaps, "then I guess I gotta be your teacher today." He called it an educational beatdown, and low-key, the dude had it coming. All of a sudden, boom, a new challenger has entered the chat. Hyun had to backflip out of the way as the furious son of the Namgung patriarch came flying in like a human cannonball. Seeing this guy gave Hyun some crazy D8 vu, but there was no time for a trip down memory lane. He had to handle the explosive lightning fist coming straight for his dome. His current body was too squishy to tank a hit like that, but his brain was loaded with cheat codes. He knew the exact mechanics of the lightning fist. It spun energy to max out the impact. Hyun caught the fist with both hands and spun the energy in the opposite direction, straight up canceling the momentum. Way up high, Hansu was peeking out the window, wondering what all that noise was. He looked down just in time to see the clash. His son was shook. He literally felt the power from his punch just fizzle into nothing. Hyun looked at the attacker's intense face and just froze. The memories hit him like a freight train. This wasn't some rando. This dude was his sadistic master from his past life. Flashbacks just flooded his brain. He remembered the psycho training, his master kicking back in the shade while Hyun swung his sword 30,000 times on a plank over a river. He remembered passing out after 30,000 swings. His body absolutely wrecked, but the teacher gave 0s. Your form was trash. He said cold as ice, do 10,000 more. Day and night, it was just torture dressed up as training. No matter how hard Hyun grinded back then, he could never land a single hit on this absolute monster. He remembered rubbing his head after failing again, complaining that using a sword like a bat was dumb. He regretted it instantly when his master hit him with that terrifying death glare. But then the man actually smiled. That anger. He said that's the juice you need to master the 7 essences. The guy literally got a high from watching his students suffer and level up. But those words weren't comforting then, and they sure as heck weren't now. He watched the fist coming and thought, bet, master. Time to see if the student can school you for a change. But he got lost in his thoughts. He lost focus for 1 second, and the punch connected. Hyen's vision went all blurry, the world spinning into a mess of colors and sounds. The Namgung hair shoved him back but was hella confused. He felt his attack get nerfed. He knew it happened, but he couldn't figure out how this random dude just did that. It defied all logic. Meanwhile, Hyen shook off the hit. Remembering his master's taunts just gassed up his rage. It was time to absolutely dismantle this younger version of his old tormentor. The air was crackling, man. You could feel round 2 about to pop off. But suddenly, the crowd swarmed in, blocking everyone's view. The Namgung hair was like, what are they doing then? Thud. The entire script just flipped. Our main character had collapsed. The crowd started losing it, yelling for a doctor as Hound passed out cold. The beggar master finished the letter, then yeeted himself out the door, rocking this crazy grin as he made a head of beeline for the head of the Namgung clan. And just like that, the whole vibe flipped. The man froze up, seeing Hyun laid out cold, while the whole crowd was shook, because Hyun's dad looked like he was about to go nuclear on the entire city. The doc rushes in, sweating up a storm, and while checking for a pulse, he's smuttering about what kind of savage monster would do this to a young master. Instantly, every single person shot daggers at the culprit. The son of the Han's family was officially public enemy number 1. The kid was shaking, looking at his pops and sweating bricks, thinking he was totally cooked. But his dad just laughs, shreds the notebook, and says the intel is worthless now. And that marriage, oh, it's definitely cancelled. Yusang heard about the drama and pulled up to the spot screaming his head off, blaming the beggar sect for the whole mess like a total Karen. The Namgung family stood there looking sus as heck in front of the U-clan's patriarch, while Oh Hyen was basically groveling, swearing his sect was innocent and pointing fingers at the kid. Hanyu tried to cap, saying his son only threw hands because he didn't know it was Yu Hyun. But the patriarch was not buying that garbage. Since when is it okay to swing a blade at random people? The father roared that if the boy wasn't his future son-in-law, his head would be rolling right now. The beggar hits Hanyu with that secret psychic message, telling him to get on his knees ASAP if he values his life. Even though he was tweaking, the man hesitated, wondering if he should really bow down. But then Oh Hyun dropped the T. Mist Yu was about to call the Imperial Palace Guards and turn this into a federal case. The beggar gave him this bruh, are you serious? Reminding him he was standing in front of a former Imperial commander, a legend that even the current emperor respects. Jyn Woo had to physically stop his father-in-law from scrapping right then and there. When the dad yelled he was taking this to the emperor, Hanyu finally got the memo that he was screwed, dropped to his knees, and started begging for mercy. So now you've got 2 grown dudes boo-hooing on the floor, begging for forgiveness, and honestly, the Lord just looked at them like they were annoying gnats. Yuang screamed, asking if they get that his only son, his pride and joy, is at death's door. But then, the door creaks open and Hyun casually waltzes out looking perfectly fine, asking, yo, what's all the noise? The dad's face went from rage mode to pure joy seeing his kid alive, but the son-in-law was confused. Hyun was rocking these cute little space buns, and all the girls walking by were blushing and whispering. No cap, they thought Hyen looked so freaking cute with that hairstyle and wanted him to keep it forever. The dad finally chilled out, asking his son if he was for real okay. The beggar master looked up, saw the kid, and freaking bolted over to him. He went into total mom mode, checking him from every angle and panicking about internal injuries. He started gassing him up about his sick moves that softened the blow, acting like a total fanboy. But Hyun just blank stared, ghosted him completely, and walked right past Ace Cold Man. He walked straight to Hanyu, bowed, and apologized for the late greeting, calling him Big Brother. The man just scratched his head, totally thrown for a loop by the sudden attitude change. See, their family tree is a whole mess, so they were technically cousins. Hyun ignored all that and asked why his dad was talking about hitting up the palace. Isong pointed a shaky finger at the Namgung clan, saying he was going to snitch to the emperor about these clowns and their trashy behavior. Hyun just shook his head like a wise old man, saying the emperor's got better things to do than deal with their drama. His dad's face changed on a dime, realizing he might have been a little extra. But then, he shot a death stare at Hanyu's son that was pure nightmare fuel, saying he might back off the emperor thing, but he would never forgive the dude who hurt Hyen. The young man's side walked up to his attacker and asked if he was the son. The dude had no clue what was going on. Meanwhile, Han smiled and introduced himself, dropping the fact that even though the guy sold her, Hyen is technically his uncle. On the inside, my boy is cheesing, feeling like a straight-up villain. This was the moment he'd been waiting for, meeting his cruel future master back when he was just some punk. He grabbed the guy's face and pinched his cheek hard, treating him like a little kid while flexing his uncle status. He was hyped to finally meet the future Sword King, Namung's son, in this timeline. In the future, this dude becomes a legendary saint and a master teacher. But in Hyun's memories, he used his sword like a freaking bat to beat the crap out of Hyun while he begged for his life. He remembered the master would pause, give him a sweet smile, call his name, and then, whack, he'd scream at him for dropping his sword, yelling that a real warrior never lets go of their weapon. In a real death match, you're gonna drop your weapon and cry, the master would taunt, you gonna obey the bad guy for mercy. That psycho smile gave him nightmares for life, but Hyun snapped back to reality when the Namung's son slapped his hand away, yelling at him to back off. The young man froze, his brain knew better, but his body was screaming with pats. He flinched, missing a perfect chance to strike because his instincts were flashing red alert. Hyun was so mad he could cry, just thinking about how he was going to get his get back on that teacher like 100-fold. Later, the whole awkward family and the beggar sat down for dinner. The vibes were so tense you could slice M with a knife until Hyun broke the silence, asking what brought his big brother over. John started sweating buckets, not knowing what to say without setting you off. No cap, if he spilled the beans, the dad's gonna rage quit dinner. But our boy saved the day with a slick question. Did you guys come to talk about the wedding? And then, he drops the bomb. I cannot accept the Namung family's proposal. His inner voice was screaming that he wanted no part of this mess. But he politely asked his dad to respect his decision. He turned to his cousin with a fake pouty face, saying he figured the guy was disappointed, but hey, it is what it is. Yo, forced marriage is so last season, he argued. Even if I'm stuck here in Amping, I can't just be a frog in a well, waiting for something to happen. I gotta help the emperor. I gotta protect the next generation. This is about the future of the nation. While he claimed he wanted to learn how the world really works and level up, then he delivered the final blow. To do that, Ivy decided to join the Murim world. His dad shot up so fast his chair went flying. Murim, that's crazy talk. That place is full of beggars, thugs, and bandits. He pointed right at the Namung fam like exhibit. The relatives looked at each other, definitely feeling some type of way about being called bandits and hooligans. Hyun hit him with that Uno reverse card, asking Dad, you think Brother Chongun is a thug? Too, yes, and Murim, masters go there to study, not just to fight. He turned back to his big brother, putting him on the spot. I'm sure the Namung family gets it. Right, Hyun played them all like a fiddle. Now all they had to do was agree. Loki. Hyun should be sending them a thank you card. Their dumb move just got him out of a marriage he never wanted in the first place. What a play. Drop a dubber in the comments for our boy Hyun. The young man cleared his throat, acting all innocent, and asked his older brother to hear him out. The man tried to find an excuse, but his brain was buffering. Checkmate, Hyun wins. And don't forget to smash that subscribe button to see what he does next. Han took their silence as a yes and got ready to dip. But just as he was about to ghost, he flashed that classic smirk at the branch manager. Ayo, oh hun, fall back with me for a minute. Dude practically launched himself out of his seat to serve his new master, but Hein just casually threw an arm around him like they were old brows, leaning in to whisper it was time for a one-on-one. The second they were outside, the vibe got mad awkward. Trying to break the tension, Oh-hun started gassing up our main character's haircut like he was his #1 stan. But peep this. Something has happened while he was waking up earlier. He totally ignored the compliments about his hair. Low key. All that sweet talk was getting super cringe. The beggar tried to keep the flattery going, but our boy cut him off to get straight to business. The dude was shook like, why was this rich kid so pressed about the Murim world and all its masters? Oh-hun just chalked it up to some rookie hype. But nah, inside, Hyun was already plotting his get back on his old teachers, ready to roast them just as hard as they roasted him. He might call it training, but for real, it was straight up revenge prep, snapping out of his villain arc fantasy. He hit him with the real question, so, is the Murim world still split between the demonic, orthodox, and unorthodox faction? The dude just brushed it off, saying everyone else just on their own hustle. But our Macy knew that was major cap. Chaos was on the horizon, and the servant of chaos was about to unite them all in the most messed up way. That little piece of info just confirmed it. He had no time to chill. He needed to start absorbing spirit energy like yesterday and get his stats maxed out. That was the only way he could smoke his enemies. Plus, he had a little side mission on his mind, scooping up his first student, so the next day, Haeun was at the reservoir, grinding for XP like an absolute beast. Hong Chang was begging him to take a break, bugging that the young master would pass out again. Haeun spun around and got right in his face. Yo, are you actually worried about me? Or are you just scared you'll lose your job if I collapse? The guard started muttering to himself, nervously complaining about how savage the young master was acting. Bro was totally caught in 4K. And just like that, his big sizz rolled up. Lady Zhonghai was on his case for overdoing it. The moment Huang Chang saw her, he turned beet red and puffed out his chest like the biggest simp. She put the guard on blast, asking why he let it get this far, and he just started spitting out weak excuses. Her voice got all shaky when she turned to her brother. Do you even remember how brutal the Murim world really is? Our MC knew the energy was thick. Their mom died over some Murim drama. They usually avoided the topic to keep the peace, but staying quiet doesn't just erase trauma. You feel me? Staying silent wasn't the move anymore. He looked her dead in the eye and asked, why are you so scared? Do I really seem that weak and useless to you? She was shook by how real he was being, flashing a confident grin. He made a promise. Nothing bad is ever touching the Yu clan again. I'm gonna be the one to protect this family. Period. Zhonghai cracked a smile. Finally seeing her little bro wasn't a kid anymore, she pinched his cheek and was like, alright, I guess it's time to admit UV really leveled up. Hyun got kinda awkward with all the love. In his past life, his entire family got murked when he was just a kid, so this whole warm family vibe was a completely new world for him. But this new life came with a whole squad that had his back. He kept grinding nonstop, dropping all that weight until his physique was looking absolutely legendary. What a glow up. Smash that like button if you re-here for his training art. Hong Chang followed him around like a shadow, scared the young master would even stumble. And even though Hyun was looking drippy in his new fits, underneath he was still dealing with the loose skin from dropping weight so fast. At dinner, he dropped the bombshell. He was bouncing to Anhui. His dad shut that down immediately, saying his son was way too skinny and would probably snap in half if he tripped. Hyun tried to finesse him with that I want to see the snow excuse he got from Oh-hun. His dad went off, mad that some random dude was putting wild ideas in his son's head. Hoops, he accidentally spilled that he was planning to stay with the Namgung family. His dad just stared at him like, I'm sorry, who now? Why them of all people? The real tea was that he was going to train his cousin, but he couldn't just say that, so he made up some story about family bonding and squashing the beef from their last visit. His dad was not buying it for a second, remembering all the trouble they got into last time, but Hyun slammed his cup down with that main character energy. It's already a done deal, Dad. He promised he'd come back safe so his pops wouldn't trip. Then, without even waiting for a comeback, he dipped out like, appreciate the permission, I am out. The patriarch finally got it. He could stop his son's determination. While his dad was stressing, Hyun bounced to his room to pack his inventory for the journey. He was so hyped. To keep a low profile, he whipped up a mask made of bandages. Now he could move through the world freely using his Og name, Jyn Wigan. But the second he opened his door, a whole army of soldiers and medical staff was waiting for him. So much for a sneaky getaway. Huang Chang was grinning from ear to ear. Hyun just pointed at the massive crowd, totally lost. What is this whole circus? Turns out it was his personal security for the trip. Hyun was like, for real, why do I need a whole crew? And then the guard dropped the nuke. The patriarch himself was coming along for the ride. He pictured his super overprotective dad helicopter parenting him the entire trip. Big nope. Hyun started waving his hands like crazy, trying to scrub that image from his brain. This family road trip was about to wreck his whole plan. He had to find the 1,000-year ginseng, take down the servant of chaos. He couldn't do any of that with his dad breathing down his neck. If he told him the truth, his dad would lock him up for his own good. Hyun knew he had to keep his secret identity on lock. He couldn't risk getting exposed. First things first, he had to lose this clinger, Huang Chang. Then he remembered a special potion in his inventory. A devious grin spread across his face under the mask. It was time for Plan B. Playing it smooth, he suggested they just chill for the night and leave tomorrow. Huang Chang was confused. Like, why kill the vibe and delay the trip? No big rush, my guy, Hyun said. Then he threw him a curveball, let's grab a drink. We never really kicked it, and you've always been a real one. Chang was so happy he was about to cry. Completely clueless about the setup, Hyun took charge, sat him down, and insisted they have a drink together. While the guard was getting wasted and venting about his job, Hyun just pretended to listen. Meanwhile, his sister was on her way. Her maid tried to stop her, but she didn't want to interrupt their bonding moment. She knew he was dealing with a lot, but after hearing the gossip about his trip, she just had to see him off one last time. Let us know in the comments if you think she's the best big sister. Zhonghai started thinking back to how her maid used to do Hyun's hair. She stood up straight and asked, who does he look like now? The maid just smirked. He is as beautiful as a young lady, of course. Standing outside, she could hear them getting loud and arguing inside. Zhonghai just smiled, decided to go in solo, and told her maid to take a break. But the loyal maid was not having that. She was like, nah, I'll wait. When Zhonghai told her to go to bed, the maid got all offended. Do I look like some tired old grandma to you? Finally, in the dead of night, Hyun grabbed his gear and ghosted out of the house like a straight-up ninja, checking every corner to make sure nobody was watching. Freedom at last. Hyun finally looks down at Huang Chang. My dude is completely knocked out, throwing hands with dream demons while snoring his face off. Yo, flashback alert, his boozed-up brain is replaying the past. Back in his inspector days, some sketchy dude tried to slide him a special poison that just deletes your internal energy. Bro's basically powerless till sunrise. See, Hyun used to look straight-up zombified from losing so much weight. He had to grind hard with these crazy treatments, slathering on healing mud and wraps just to look halfway normal again. And that's when his old doc hooked him up with that same energy-nuking poison. It was meant to be a last resort panic button for when he ran into an enemy way out of his league. It was supposed to be a timeout button, but tonight, it came in clutch for a whole different mission as he dips out of the house. He's just hoping the dude gets it. This is for the entire Murim world, fam. But right as he's out to bounce, bam, he caught his sister standing right there in the yard, looking heartbroken and holding her pregnant belly. Hyun freezes up. He just dealt with the guard, so my man is freaking out, but then his sister rushes in for a hug, begging him to be safe and get back home quick. She tells him their pops will always be waiting for him, no matter what. After that heavy goodbye, Hyun dips to the stables to get his ride, And his sister wasn't teacapping. This horse is an absolute beast. A lightning fastid gifted by the Emperor himself. You can tell it's legendary from those glowing, electric blue eyes. He never dreamed he'd be riding a mount this legendary. He takes one last look back at his family's crib, shining in the moonlight, then jets off into the darkness. This horse is straight up a fantasy Ferrari. By sunrise, our boy is already posted up in the mountains, scoping out the Namgung clan's turf. The horse lets out a happy neigh, and Hyan gives it a pat. Total MVP. He pulls up to a tavern by the forest and orders a whole feast for the crew. Then he drops a fat stack of silver on the table like a G. He tells the owner to get him every ginseng gatherer and hunter who knows these mountains inside and out. Meanwhile, some mercs report to an old, gray-haired dude that they've located the pure ginseng. The old man doesn't even hesitate. He tells his troops to roll out. Like, right now, back at the tavern, the owner hustles. A crowd of locals shows up, but they giving Hyan the side eye, looking mad sis. They want to know what business he has in their village. The whole vibe gets super tense. People start whispering that he might be a bandit. Hyan almost slips up and reveals he's from the Wu clan. To save the play, he quickly improvises, saying he works for a branch of the clan and introduces himself as Jyn Wigan. Talk about a smooth recovery. He drops a little backstory, saying he is on a mission for a VIP. He asks if they know about a legendary stone up in the mountains that glows with a sick crimson light, but judging by their blank stares, these NPCs have absolutely no idea what he's talking about, lol. Even Hyan thought the Crimson Stone was just a fairy tale, but he presses this one old-timer who looks like he's got some intel. The geezer isn't too sure about Crimson, but he does know about a red stone. He saw it ages ago when he got lost in the mountains as a kid, said the thing was glowing bright as the sun, and shot a massive beam of light straight up into the sky. Hyan gets totally hyped and demands to know where it is. The old man scratches his beard and drops the bomb. It's deep in the mountains, at a place called Pagoda Peak. And just like that, the entire room goes dead silent. Another dude starts trembling, telling Han to just drop it. That place is a total no-go zone because of the Nine Dragons Fortress. They were a legendary crew of bandits who've been running these parts for generations. The word on the street is some of them are legit martial arts masters. But Hyan ain't even fazed by the warnings. He's actually stoked. A bandit hideout is the perfect spot, because no sane person would ever think to look for treasure there. He grabs the old man's hand, begging him be his guide. The old-timer tries to reason with him, but Hyan is not backing down. He needs that guide like yesterday. The old man looks into Hyan's intense gray eyes and sees it. This kid is 100% serious. This ain't no game to him. Finally, the man, whose name is Ixu, agrees to guide him to a lookout spot. The other villagers think he's lost his mind, but Ixu lays down one rule. Hyan has to promise they'll dip. If things get too sketchy, our boy agrees in a heartbeat. Super grateful. They waste no time and head straight for the mountains. To get closer, they hit a river. It's not super wide, but it's crazy deep and dark. Ixu says they gotta turn back and find a boat. But Hyan's not about that logic. He just asks where the stone is. Ixu points across, saying he'll see the glow when the sun sets, so Hyan just posts up and waits. Ixu crashes out under a tree while Hyan stays on high alert. The second the sun drops behind the rocks, a faint red glow appears from the gorge. There it is. The old man starts freaking out about it getting dark, saying they gotta go. But Hyan just hands him a valuable treasure as payment, basically saying, our deal is done. He wasn't about to drag this old dude into a death trap. He knows there are bandits ahead, and things are about to get real ugly. Ixu tries to give the payment back, but our main character just bows respectfully. Then, before the old man can even process it, Hyan swan dives right off the cliff into the icy cold river. Now, swimming that river in winter should be a death sentence, but our boy moves through the water like a beast. He crosses it no problem, and slips into the Nine Dragons Fortress perimeter. He sneaks up and overhears two goons talking about selling people they captured at the border. Wait, are they talking about human trafficking for real? He is absolutely pissed hearing these scumbags are raiding villages, but he's gotta stay on mission. He's got a much bigger goal right now. His target is the pure ginseng. He fires up his spiritual senses, scanning the area like a radar. If that treasure is within 10 yards, he'll know. But in the middle of his scan, he senses something foul. He spots a bandit dragging a woman out of a house by her hair, just screaming trash at her. This punk throws her on the ground and just starts kicking her. Hyan is about to leap out and destroy this guy, but he stops dead. There's a crying kid right there, and the bandit turns to the child with a twisted grin. The woman grabs the bandit's leg, her hand shaking, and screams that he's not even a human being anymore. But the dude just turns back and keeps wailing on her, laughing about how he is testing her limits. Hyona's blood is absolutely boiling. He wants nothing more than to wreck this monster, but his hands are tied. His masters gave him a strict order. Don't get involved until your power returns, even for the sake of justice. He has to look away from this evil to save the entire Murim world down the line. But the rage is just overwhelming. He's cursing out his masters in his head, clutching the ground till his knuckles are white. And he makes a vow. This is the only time he'll ever hold back. What do you guys think he should do? Drop a comment below and smash that subscribe button for more. With the legendary ginseng secured, my guy was about to ghost. But first, it was time to absolutely demolish every scrub in his path. Steeling himself, our hero turned to bounce, trying to tune out the kid's cries and the sickening thuds. But then his conscience, but echo from his past life, hit him with a, "For real? You were just gonna let this slide?" He just couldn't tee. This level of evil was off the charts. What was the point of saving the whole Murim world if he let clowns like this run free? No cap, he had to step in. He whipped back around, a fire for justice burning in his eyes. It was better to torch the whole villain as den than to let this horror show go on. The goon smacked the mom and reached his grimy hand for the little girl. But before his fingers could even graze her, bam, a fist slammed into his face, leaving a gnarly, bloody mark. Our main character glanced at his sleeve and sighed, "Dude, you got blood on my fresh fit. You for..." The little girl's eyes went wide. She whispered, "You a hero?" But our guy just hit her with that main character swag. "Nah, shorty, just passing through." The mother was shivering, wrecked by cold and fear, holding her kid like her life depended on it. She stuttered. Who are you?" Hound offered a hand, but she flinched back, totally spooked. He didn't sweat it. He just put a gentle hand on her shoulder. "No time for names." He said, his voice low, "Get up. Where's the rest of your crew?" "In the hut," she yelled. Pointing like clockwork, another bandit strolled out. Smack. Highland laid him out cold in one hit. "8 ladies, get inside before you're seen. Go, go." He dragged the Cody bodies inside, grumbling, "Yo, why are these NPCs built so dense inside?" A crew of terrified hostages stared at him like he was death itself. Then it clicked. The bloody hands, the bandages, dragging 2 dudes. Yeah, he looked mega sus, yo, chill. He said, "I'm here to spring you." The mommy saved stepped up. "He's legit," she vouched. Hyen gave a cool wave. "I promised I'd get you out of this nightmare. And I'm a man of my word." One of the captives whispered, "Are you from the government?" Hyen just blew past the question, "How many enemies we talking?" "Like 50. They answered, 50 versus 1. Bro, that's a whole raid boss fight. And to make it worse, a legit martial arts master might be in the mix. The captives looked hopeful, so the army is posted up outside, right? "Nah, it's just me," Hyen admitted. "I'll create a diversion for while to escape. But after that, you re on your own." In his head, he was face-palming so hard. Why did I choose to play the hero card today? Straight up panic started to ripple through the group. It's over. We're cooked. But the mom he rescued stood strong. Hyen smirked. She had that main character energy. Bet he thought they better listen to her. Just then, another bandit stomped in to yell at the prisoners. He froze solid, seeing his boys laid out on the floor. You could see the rage just explode in his eyes. But he didn't stay mad for long. Crack using a secret technique. Hyen snapped his neck before the dude could even make a sound. Geese. Our boy peeked outside. A guard was up on a wooden tower, rubbing his sleepy eyes. Total NPC behavior. For real. But then, whoosh, a flash of blue energy ripped through the night like lightning. Hyen moved so fast he broke the sound barrier. The guard barely had time to blink. Before the guard could even process what was happening, boom, Hyen delivered a devastating strike to the tower's foundation. The entire structure groaned and started to give way. With one last scream, the guard plunged into the darkness below. The hostages saw the tower collapse and knew that was the signal. It was go time. If you think that was a pick, smash that subscribe button. The brave mom yelled, "Run," and the prisoners booked it toward freedom. Meanwhile, Hyen decided it was time to turn up the heat. Literally, he torched the main building. Let the chaos begin. Over in the barracks, the other bandits were deep in dreamland, but the smell of smoke snapped one of them awake. "Yo, do you smell something burning?" Fire! The alarm blared. The bandits scrambled awake in total chaos. The first guy tried to rush out and play hero firefighter. Kaboom! A massive explosion sent him flying right back inside. Through the smoke, a figure stood silhouetted in the doorway, holding a torch. "Who the heck are you?" they screamed. Hyen just laughed at the stupid question. "Who am I? Call me the guy who's about to roast you all." That was a straight-up savage line. "Get him!" the bandits roared. Dondi let him get away. The message spread like wildfire. "It's the bandage dude. He's solo, everyone jump him." Hyen did some quick math. Fighting 50 angry goons at once. That's a little extra, even for him. One-on-one they were jokes, but as a mob, they were a real problem. He cursed his weak stats, man. If only ID absorbed that ginseng energy earlier. Suddenly, an old bandit lunged at him, aiming to take his head clean off. Hyen dodged it like it was nothing and drove an elbow straight into the guy's stomach. Looked like he had no choice but to throw down for real. Instead of a straight-up brawl, he used his footwork to kite them around. He had to set up a trap. Meanwhile, 2 guards at the village gate were just standing there like mannequins. Clink, a small stone landed right at their feet. They turned and finally saw the massive inferno raging behind them. Boss, I think we might be under attack." Realizing the intruder had slipped right past them, they sprinted back toward the fire, terrified of what their boss would do. This move cleared the escape route for the hostages. The woman clutched her baby, glanced back one last time, and sent a silent prayer of thanks to their mystery hero. "Please survive," she whispered. Hyen was running on empty, his energy practically at 0. He tried to fall back, but swipe, a huge dude in a tiger skin swung a pair of nunchucks right at his head. This guy was quick on his feet. Hyen blocked the hit, but still got launched backward. The attacker, a massive bald tank, just grinned. "Well, what do we have here?" His whole squad closed in on Hyen, talking mad trash. "Look at the bandages, you hiding some busted face under there. Weirdo." Hyen scanned the circle. These weren't your average thugs. They were trained martial artists. You pull up here all by yourself, kid, the bald guy sneered. Dozens of spear tips were aimed right at him. Hyen clicked his tongue. Annoyed, he crossed his arms, chin high, and went for the ultimate bluff. I don't need backup to handle scrubs like you. He looked totally confident, but on the inside, he was praying to every god he could think of. Please fall for it. Please just get scared and run. The bald man sighed, looking bored. All this drama for just one kid. Hyen knew his intimidation check had failed. He was in deep trouble now. All of a sudden, the boss roared at his crew. What are you idiots doing? The whole base is burning down. Go put out the fire. The bald man stepped forward, his aura flaring up like crazy. I am Gakko-sen, leader of the Nine Dragons Fortress. Remember my name when you die. Hyen smirked, trying to hide the pain. You want me to introduce myself before we do this? But out of nowhere, the boss actually laughed. I like your style. Kid, how do you like a job? To Hun, this offer was completely bonkers. But if this Gakko-sen dude wanted to stall, Hun was so down to play along with this whole act. He plopped right down into a lotus pose, leaving the bandits totally shook. With a smirk, he asked if this was his official job interview. But while he played it cool, he was secretly sucking up every bit of spiritual energy he could from the air. Gakko-sen started gassing him up, saying real talent is rare. He called the kid brave and strong, and said that kind of vibe deserves a fat paycheck. Hun kept the act going, pretending to think it over. But the bandit leader just scoffed, pointing out the kid had zero internal energy, trying to look tough with no juice. That's just sad, bro. He laid out the final offer, join the squad, be a boss with equal rank. And they forget this whole beatdown ever happened. A fresh start. Unlike their leader, the minions were not having it. They were thirsty for blood, screaming to off this disrespectful punk, or at least snap a few bones. Finally, Hun broke the silence with a single word. Bet. Gakko-sen actually thought he descored a new homie. Huge mistake. Hun felt his energy returning, stood up, and dropped a nuke. Since when does a legendary wolf bow to a stray mutt? Oh, that insult hit different. The bandit leader went nuclear, veins popping out as he screamed at this absolute psycho. Hun dropped into a fighting stance, challenging the boss to a 1v1. But Gakko-sen was just salty he had to waste time, ordering his goons to wreck this kid's whole life. The goons didn't need to be told twice. They rushed him in a flash. Hun just rolled his eyes, ganging up on one dude. What a pack of absolute cowards. The first hit sliced right through Hun's bandages, showing the wrinkly, old face underneath. He cursed the leader for hiding behind his cronies like a little rat. The roasting session started immediately. The bandits died laughing, realizing their young enemy looked like some grandpa in a costume. But Hun clapped back with that young blood energy. He told them that unlike their busted faces, at least he looked human. That one stung, and the bandits came at him even harder. He didn't have the power for a head-on clash, so he tried to bob and weave. But fighting a whole crew by himself, he had absolutely no room to breathe. Crack! A heavy hit finally landed, sending Hun flying across the ground. Gakko-sen had to admit, the kid lasted way longer than he expected for someone with no power. Hun wiped the blood from his mouth. He was already running on fumes, but now his energy tank was bone dry. He realized way too late that he totally underestimated these guys. Trying to be a hero with no power. That's a rookie move, but no time for a pity party. Even with his legs shaking, he forced himself back up. He could die here. Not before getting his hands on the virgin ginseng. He shook off the regret and flipped the switch to pure survival mode. Gakko-sen sneered at the sight. He thought the kid was brave, but nah, he was just a moron. Useless trash needs to be thrown out, so he gave the order to finish him. Hun scraped together his last drops of energy, focusing it all into his legs to lock down his center of gravity. All of a sudden, his body felt weightless, flowing just like water. He danced through the mob, scattering the thugs, peeped the 8 drunken eternal steps. Even this week, his moves left the bandits, and their boss, completely stunned. And that was just the warm-up. He moved so fast nobody could even touch him. This was the ultimate technique of hyper-relaxation. Let us know in the comments what you think of this crazy move. He lunged at Gakko-sen for the final blow, but with his power all gone, the attack barely even tickled the bandit leader. Realizing it was a wrap, he slipped past them and yeeted himself straight into the canyon, but not before sticking his tongue out at the losers one last time. He knew the ravine was way too deep for them to chase. As he fell, he flipped him the double bird. I'll be back for your heads. Gakko-sen could only scream into the empty air as the kid disappeared. The minions were just standing there, jaws on the floor. The boss was fuming, yelling at them to find the body. Like yesterday, he wanted to skin that kid alive just to cool off. Suddenly, a panicked goon ran up. Report, the leader snapped. The dude stammered that the prisoner cages were empty. Just 2 burnt bodies left behind. Gakko-sen connected the dots instantly. That cocky brat wasn't just stalling. He was a decoy so the prisoners could bounce right under their noses. Skinning him alive wasn't enough now. He ordered a full lockdown of Mount Hyen. Meanwhile, Hun was speeding towards the ground with only one chance to not become a pancake. There was a pond down there, but at this speed, hitting water would be like smacking concrete. He had to nail the angle perfectly. He braced for impact, but instead of a crash, he stopped dead in the water. But things got worse. He was caught in a crazy whirlpool, spinning like a top. Fighting it was pointless. He had to just go with the flow. He waited for that perfect moment and launched himself out of the deadly spiral. Breaking the surface, he gasped for that sweet oxygen, spitting out a gallon of river water. Totally drained. He just floated, letting the current take him. He just wanted to pass out and forget about all this ginseng mess. But then a jolt shot through him. His spiritual energy was buzzing like crazy. The glow from his chest was like a G-piece. It was pulling him toward the pure ginseng nearby. Hun dragged himself onto the shore of some weird, hidden cave. He survived the fall. But where in the world was he? Then he saw it, a glowing plant with a tiny bud. No doubt about it. The chase ginseng. His master said he'd know it when he saw it. Should have asked for a picture. But whatever, it was right there. He scrambled over and started digging like a madman. He grabbed the stem and yanked. As the root came out of the ground, the name suddenly made perfect sense. It looked exactly like a little newborn baby, holding the legendary treasure. He was totally freaking out, just shaking his head in disbelief. He hugged the root to his face, grinning like a complete fool. The minion of chaos' grand plan was finally over. He checked his sixth coast was clear, and whispered a quick thank you. Just biting into it would be disrespectful. This thing needed some respect. With shaky hands, he sliced off the first piece of the divine root. Cool leaves, a spicy ginger flavor, and a wave of insane sweetness. Pure spiritual energy just exploded in his mouth. He couldn't stop. He scarfed down the whole thing, bite after bite. The ginseng's power surged through his veins. He stood up, giving off a major boss aura. You better watch your six, Gakosen. Feeling his strength return, he announced it to the world. The useless kid from Huan Prefecture is history. The master is back, by the way. His loyal servant Huang Chong had made it to the village, desperately looking for his young lord. The shopkeeper described Hun perfectly, but the servant kept saying he was looking for Jyn Wigan. Poor dude was holding a swollen cheek. Looks like the clan patriarch gave him a nasty goodbye slap. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. The servant had zero idea where his young master dipped, but while Hang Chong was out cold from downing way too much magic juice with the boss's son, Patriarch Yang came in and kicked the door clean off its hinges. Before the poor dude could even process what was happening, he caught a furious boot right to the face. The patriarch was screaming bloody murder, about to end this man's entire career just for catching some Z's on the job. The boss literally threatened to put him in the ground so he could sleep for good. Jun Woo, trying to be the good son-in-law, tried to chill him out, but the second the patriarch saw those empty bottles, his rage went supernova. Through a killer hangover, Hang Chong started getting flashbacks of the young master pouring him drinks with a sly grin, basically setting my man up for failure. Then it hit him like a freight train. He got totally played, and Mr. Yu's fury was about to drop the hammer, even with the doc and the son-in-law trying to hold the old man back. Suddenly, the stress was too real, and Yang just collapsed on the spot. Cheng Shang freaked out, trying to find a pulse on his arm. But when he felt nothing, he screamed that it was game over for the master. But psych, the old dude popped right back up, clocked the doctor for spreading fake news, and chased everyone out terrified. Hang Chong bolted to find the young master before he actually got 6 feet undered. Just then, he heard some kid yapping about a horse with freaky eyes that was being extra bougie about its food. Apparently, this kid had to hit up every village just to find the right fruit for this picky animal. Hang Chong stalked the kid and scared him half to death, sprinting up and screaming for his young master. The servant was bugging out, completely forgetting he's the one who ditched his boss in the first place. Finally losing it, he grabbed the kid by the shoulders full on crying, and begged to know where this mystery horse came from. The kid spilled the tea, saying the horse owner headed straight for Pagoda Peak. Yep, where the Nine Dragons fortress is located. The adults tried to stop him, but the young master was all like, nah, I'm on a treasure hunt. Hang Chong let out a scream that could wake the dead, scaring the soul out of this kid. He realized his master just walked straight into a den of bandits. His mind started playing horror movies of the kid getting messed up. With the intel secured, Huang Chong took off like a rocket to save his master, but then he slammed on the brakes, spun around, ran back, tripped on a rock, and went flying like a human bowling ball. He completely forgot to ask for directions, lifting his head with blood gushing from his nose. He desperately asked where the heck Pagoda Peak actually was. Meanwhile, the escaped captives were sneaking through the snowy forest, hearts pounding out of their chests. Suddenly, a branch snapped, and they all froze. Shadowy figure was posted up behind a tree. When he stepped out, it was just Exu, the absolute goat who was helping them find a shortcut to the village. Talk about a massive relief. The mom thanked him like he saved her life, and the old man asked if they'd seen a bandaged-up kid. But right as she turned to answer, a huge bolt of blue lightning cracked the sky, signaling that things were about to get real. Back at the waterfall, the crew Gak, sent to find the body, was striking out. The deputy was listening to lame excuses about how the current probably washed the corpse downstream. Their boss was going to flip if they came back with nothing. The deputy ordered them to split up, 5 guys downriver. The rest searched the area. Failure was not an option. Just as the squad was about to dip, one of the goons saw something insane and yelled for everyone to look back at the water. A young dude was just casually strolling out of the waterfall like a main character. He was muttering that if the plan went south, he would be been totally screwed. The deputy just stared, his jaw on the floor with no clue who this guy was. The dude's face was covered by long, wet hair, giving off major horror movie vibes. He sarcastically asked if they were his welcome party, which was perfect since he was coming for their necks anyway. The bandits were just standing there, confused as heck. Then the guy slicked his hair back, revealing a face that was straight up art, and asked with maximum sass if he was the one they were looking for. Thanks to that legendary chase ginseng, his body got a complete glow up, shedding all that dead weight. The bandits didn't even recognize him. Hyan just laughed, knowing his transformation was too much for their small brains. He was done playing around and told the men to strip because he was feeling a little chilly. The absolute nerve, the robbers, got heated, thinking this pretty boy needed to be taught a lesson. Our boy didn't even flinch, calmly asking if they were going to hand over the clothes, or if he had to get physical. Before we see him body these fools, make sure you absolutely smash that like button and sub for more of this heat. The deputy couldn't take the disrespect and tried to check him, but before he could even land a hit, he caught a nasty kick right to the jaw. His lackeys watched in shock as their boss got yeeted into the water instantly. The young man stripped the unconscious boss, checked out the threads, and then complained that they got wet in the fight. Bro is suffering from success. When he looked over at the other dudes, they started quaking in their boots. It was terrifying. This guy looked like a god but was staring at them, like they were snacks, asking who was next to donate. Everyone started frantically taking off their clothes, not trying to end up like their boss. To make it worse, our guy yoinked their weapon, which was way heavier than it looked. Then he swung the massive blade and clean took the closest guy's head off. While the robbers stared at their boy in pure shock, our main character just smiled and asked why they were standing there like NPCs. Hyan couldn't care less if they cooperated. He was planning on logging them all out of existence permanently. The robbers were shivering from the cold and from pure fear, begging for their lives, but our boy flashed a killer smile and said, "Nah," promising to collect every single one of their heads. One bandit stuttered, asking who he made that promise to, winding up for the next swing. Our guy dropped the coldest line of the century. "I made that promise to myself." It was panic time. The men scattered like rats, but it was no use without even moving his feet. He sliced down every single one who tried to run. It was a total massacre. With a predator-esque gaze, he dashed forward, declaring it was hunting season, because these bandits were just animals. When he was done, he wiped the blood off his face, annoyed that his new fit was already ruined. He knelt by the river to wash up and just froze. He didn't even recognize his own reflection. The chase ginseng had completely remade his face into a masterpiece. Now it all made sense why nobody knew who he was. His skin was flawless. Admiring his new look, he called the body's previous owner a clown for letting all this potential go to waste. But hey, no risk, no reward. He thought about his fire sister and realized that with this new face, those rumors about him being adopted were finally dead. The family resemblance was undeniable now. His self-love session was rudely cut off by a flock of birds freaking out and taking off. Then he heard screaming in the distance. The bandits had caught up to the escaped slaves. One of the scumbags was already whipping Ixu for helping them bounce, while the captives were tied up again. The bandit beat on the old man, asking if he was working with the mystery killer. The old man tried to block the hits, denying everything, but the beating just kept coming. These guys didn't want the truth, they just wanted a punching bag. Just as the villain raised his hand for another hit, he froze. In the distance, he saw his servant Vachut just standing there, and his brain blue screened, trying to figure out what was going on. Our main character bent down, and the bandits thought he was just playing in the snow. They had no idea he was charging up an attack. My guy was literally making a snowball, and then, answering their confusion with pure violence, he let it rip. The snowball flew past one dude and smacked the other one right in the face with the force of a cannon, dropping him flat. The bully was shook, watching his whole crew get dropped like it was nothing. He could only stare in horror as his homies got absolutely folded one by one. With only a single scrub left, Hyun screamed, "Strike!" Yo, the hype was insane. He snatched his halberd from the snow and launched himself 8 meters into the sky like a gravity-defying beast, flying straight at the robbers. While these NPCs were still glitching out, someone yelled for them to scatter. But fam, it was way too late for that. Hyun landed like a meteor next to a fresh body, unleashing a shockwave that sent the dazed bandits flying. It was a straight-up massacre. The young master decapitated everyone in range, his weapon blasting out energy that sliced through the clouds in moonlight. Hyan smirked, pointed his blade at the last survivor and asked, "You scared yet, bro?" Dropping a major truth bomb, he revealed this was the secret sword technique of the legendary Won clan. The bandit trembled, asking who he was. With a heavy sigh, Hyun asked, "For real? How could you forget the guy you clowns mocked earlier?" But suddenly, the sound of someone in pain pulled Hyun out of his battle trance. An old man was groaning in the snow, while the other captives tried desperately to help him. Our young master recognized him in a heartbeat. It was Old Man X the guide who promised to show him the peak. Instantly, the smile vanished from the boy's face, replaced by pure, cold darkness. His aura flared up like gasoline on a fire. He turned ice cold and demanded, "Who did this?" The bandit on the ground started stuttering, trying to cap and say he didn't even touch the old man. But Hyun wasn't having any of it. He swung his weapon once, a clean cut, and the dude was sliced in half. As he approached the old man, the captives started begging for mercy, all at once. "Chill, I am not with those losers," Hyun reassured them, gently lifting the old man and checking his status. The old man could barely open his eyes, but even without seeing clearly, he recognized that legendary silhouette. With a stern but gentle voice, Hyun reminded him they still had a deal then. Hyun went into hero mode. He let his internal energy flow out, channeling his own to heal the old man's wounds. It wasn't a full health restore, but it stabilized his HP enough for first aid. Job done for now. The young master looked around and asked, "8, who's got the strength to carry him?" 3 volunteers immediately stepped up and carefully lifted the old man onto their backs. Hyun gave them strict orders: walk forward, slow and steady. And no matter what, don't you dare look back. They could walk in peace. Now, because Hyun was about to become the most terrifying rear guard in history, he announced he was going to unleash the wrath of the gods on these animals to seal the deal. He snapped his halberd and made a sword from the wreckage. Meanwhile, 2 guards at the Bandit village entrance heard thunder crackling. They were confused. Like lightning in the middle of wind. Nah, fam. That was NT the weather. Something crashed down right in front of them. It was you, Hack. And the second the smoke cleared, he instantly deleted the guards. Standing in the middle of the street, he screamed the boss's name, Gakusen, at the top of his lungs. But instead of the boss, a whole mob of minions rushed out. See, internal energy usually has a limit, but spiritual energy, bro, that stuff is just built different. It carries the power of life itself. It pierces through any defense and destroys everything in its path. Hyun was ready to use this overpowered ability to make sure Gaik never caused trouble again. After dropping another attacker, he warned the rest that they were next on the chopping block. In the blink of an eye, the young master wiped out dozens of enemies. The survivors just froze, shaking in their boots. Hyun smiled, smelling the fear in the air. These guys were no longer a threat. They were prey. Suddenly, arrows rained down from the sky, but our young master dodged them with god-tier reflexes. Finally, the main villain Gakusen showed up with his archer squad, ordering his goons to back off. They gladly obeyed, surrounding the boy from a safe distance like the cowards they were. The young master just laughed. "Glad you finally showed up. I was wondering where you were hiding while your boys were getting clapped." He started roasting the leader, saying it looked like he got scared and hired some cheap hunters for protection. Hyun just shook his head. This resistance was pointless. The ending was already written. "This won't save you from the Reaper," he warned. The bandits started shaking at his words. Hyun advised them to just give up, and was mid-swing when a familiar voice yelled, "Stop." It was Hang Chong. He strolled in with a small squad of soldiers and gave the order, "Eliminate every single bandit. No survivors." A chaotic brawl erupted, and Hang jumped straight into the fight. He noted that his own skills were actually pretty fire. Definitely worthy of a leader in the Yu clan. Gakusen, panicking, screamed at his minions to stop the invasion at all costs. But the leader himself, bro, turned tail and ran so fast his heels were on fire, leaving his own men to get slaughtered in his place. What a clown. Let me know in the comments what you think of that move. Hyun was not going to let that slide. He chased him down and caught him at the gate. "Where you running to? You were already dead." Gak spun around, totally confused. "Why are you chasing me?" Hyun laughed. "You seriously don't recognize me?" The young master smirked and threw up the middle finger, the exact same gesture he made the night he jumped off the cliff. Instantly, Sosun's brain rebooted. He knew exactly who this monster was, but he was bewildered. The kid's face was completely different, had mentioned something about a mystical plant giving him a glow-up, but didn't bother explaining because, let's be real, this dude wouldn't get it. The bandit boss started trembling violently. He realized he was facing a martial arts grandmaster and had zero chance of winning. He did the only logical thing, dropped to his knees and begged for his life. Hyun just laughed at how pathetic he looked. The man promised him everything. Money, women, you name it, just to keep his head attached to his shoulders. But the young master told him to shut his trap. "Did you spare anyone who begged you?" he asked, his voice ice cold. "You robbed innocents, kidnapped women and children, and abused them. Did anything ever stop you?" Hyun asked. That S when the bandit realized. There was no talking his way out of this one. He was cooked. Hyun raised his sword high. "There is no forgiveness here. I'm passing sentence in the name of the heavens." He told the man his only option was to accept his fate with some dignity. Slash, with one swift motion, the young master took his head, looking at the scumbag's body. He only thought about the grief this monster caused. Suddenly, Huang Chong approached, cautiously asking, "You good?" He didn't even recognize his own young master. He just noted that this ruthless warrior was clearly furious at the bandits and had some serious skills for his age. Hyun smiled, about to give a cheerful reply, but Hang cut him off. He was super worried about finding his young master and asked Hyun if he'd seen him. Not realizing who he was talking to, Huang started describing the boy, but he was roasting him, calling him stupid, stubborn, and mannerless. He even added that the kid eats like a cow and is totally rude. Behind Hyun's polite smile was a burning desire to bury this man alive right here and now. The disrespect is unreal, fam. As soon as the young master revealed his identity, Huang switched up so fast he started gassing him up, saying, "Oh wow, you got so handsome, I recognized you instantly." This just annoyed Hyun more because he remembered the trash talk from 5 seconds ago. The warriors of the Yu family were stunned by the young master's power, even they struggled with the 9 dragons bandits. But this kid solo cleared the entire fortress. And yeah, his methods were a bit brutal, but nobody was gonna snitch on him for taking out the trash. Hong Chong said the head of the Heavenly Squad came personally to fetch him because his dad was worried sick. He tried to guilt trip him, hinting that the young master knew how scary his dad could be. But Hyun refused to return just yet. He had to catch the person coming for the ginseng first. The mission wasn't over, and neither is this video, so smash that like and subscribe button for the next part. And just like that, the old man's face went from 0 to 100 like he just hit the jackpot. The ex-inspector snatched a rope, his eyes gleaming. My guy was ready to clock back in and bag this criminal himself. Our boy Hun realized the script just got flipped. He was the villain in this dude's story. He started backing away, telling Gramps to chill before he had to stop holding back and really let loose. But the old-timer was not having it. The young master tried to dip, but this dude was crazy fast, snagging his leg in a flash. Turns out, this ain't he just some random grandpa. He was the freaking chief inspector of intelligence. He gives the rope a massive yank, but our boy doesn't even flinch. Instead of bouncing, Hun decides to square up, slamming his fist right into Wang Chong's palm with a massive shockwave of energy. The other guards were totally shook. This kid was trading blows with the legendary destroyer, like it was just another Tuesday. But as the fight went on, the truth dropped like a bomb. The student was now the master. Hun unleashes a flurry of high-speed hits, sending the old man flying back, and just when he thought he secured the W psych, a sneak attack from behind gets his legs all tied up. He whips around and sees one of the guards tying him up, all like, "Sorry man, just following orders." Hun calls him out for the cheap shot, but the guard just shrugs. It's all about loyalty to the clan, bro. 8. Bet there was no turning back. Now the guards flared their auras, getting ready to jump our main character all at once. But hold up, the fight gets cut short. Old man Exu hobbles in with his cane and his son. He bows deep to Hun. Looking terrified he missed his chance to thank the dude who saved him. Our main character just smiles awkwardly, trying to play it cool like it was no big deal. The son just pours his heart out, thanking him for saving his pops in low-key. Those words hit Hun right in the feels. It felt kinda nice. He tries to brush it off, but Exu is not letting it go. My man literally tracked down the Heavenly Squad just to give the young master a personal shout out. He says all the hostages are super grateful. Hun kinda panics for a sec, asking with these wide eyes if everyone actually for real made it out alive. They thank him for absolutely wrecking the bandits and saving their whole family line. Hun just stands there, kinda frozen, watching them walk back to the village, all happy. This weird, warm feeling spreads through his chest. He thinks it's a weakness, like maybe he burned too much spiritual energy. But nah, my guy, that's just called having a heart. But it snapped back to reality. His dad's crew wraps him up like a human burrito and just yeets him into the carriage. Hun is screaming the whole way home, yelling that the future of the entire Murim world is on his shoulders. The guard is just nodding along like, yeah, okay. Kid, telling him to worry about his own family's peace instead. Hun is so mad he starts chewing on the ropes. These dudes just don't see the big picture. His plan was to ghost Huang Chong and wait for the Servant of Chaos, but the guard got tired of all the yapping, hit a pressure point on his neck, and sent our boy straight to sleepy time. Hun is out cold, still mumbling about danger to Murim. A big mistake. And the Servant of Chaos, even when he's knocked out, the grind on to stop. One of the other guards just can T-wrap his head around it. How did this kid with a total baby face solo an entire squad of bandits? Like for real, the math ain't T-mething. Then out of nowhere, Huang orders a total cover-up. Do not mention the young master in the report. The other guard is confused. Like, that's some major cloud he's just tossing in the trash. But that's the whole point. The nail that sticks out gets hammered down, the guard starts laughing, realizing Hong is just being a total helicopter parent, trying to protect his boy. So they agree to keep it on the down low. Since the young master used the name Jyn Wigan anyway, they all just let the world gossip about some mysterious hero instead. Huang Chong checks on our sleeping main character, glad he is safe. But meanwhile, the bandit chief finally gets to the spot where that legendary ginseng was supposed to be, and my dude is absolutely fuming. The priceless ginseng meant for his young master is gone. His rage literally shakes the ground, and his toxic aura has his minions begging for their lives. When he finally takes a chill pill, he calls for a dude named Manhwa. The guy is still gasping for air from his boss killer pressure, but he answers on the double. The chief starts screaming that some thief jacked their stuff. Things at the Golden Palace are a total mess, so he has to bounce, leaving all the dirty work for Manhwa, and his orders are straight up terrifying. If the thief swallowed the plant, cut his stomach open and pull it out. Kill his family, kill his friends, get rid of anyone who's ever even looked at him, bro. Talk about going completely overboard. Later, Hun wakes up, super salty he missed his shot to take out the Chaos accomplice. He could have been living that sweet, retired billionaire life by now. Huang Chong just smiles like, "We re-hear, young master," but Hun ain't having it. He just yells at him for messing up the whole plan and making him miss his chance. The guard totally ignores his little tantrum. He explains that Hun's dad missed him so much, they moved the whole state. Hun just sighs, at least the bad guys lost the ginseng, so it wasn't he a total L. So, mission 1, complete. He snagged the pure ginseng. He'll get another shot at the villain when he comes for the next target, the 1,000-year-old shell. While he is plotting his next move, they roll up to this massive city called Hefei. The guard starts teasing him, betting it's the biggest city this little country boy has ever seen. Fei is the capital city, and for a kid who grew up on some remote, chaotic mountain, this place was a whole new world. Talk about a major culture shock. All this dude has ever seen are training halls and magic circles. Now he's looking at a legit, bustling city with, like, actual roads and buildings. They pass through the commercial district, and our boy's eyes go wide. All these merchants, crazy stuff he's never seen before. The city is absolutely poppin'. Lights everywhere. Everyone's hyped for the night market. New silk drip on display. The whole vibe is lit. Huang Chong promises to untay him, but only if he swears he won't try to dip. "I'm not a toddler," Hun grumbles. "For real, being tied up is totally killing his vibe." They pull up to the Namgung family palace, which has this super arrogant sign out front that says Imperial Court. That level of audacity is pretty on brand for this clan. Hun walks up with a confident smirk, only to get a sword pointed right at his throat. A guard yells, "Halt." He literally almost rolls his eyes into the back of his head. Not this again. But then Yang steps in from behind and tells the guards to chill out. Like right now, Hun looks over at his dad and thinks, wow, he actually looks super worried and caring. So he decides to play the part of the good son and goes in for a hug. Psych. His dad walks right past him. He starts screaming at Huang Chong, accusing him of lying about bringing his son back home safe. He is shaking the poor guard by the collar, yelling, "Where is he? There's no way this skinny, pretty boy bandit is my son." While his dad is still raging, Hun tries one more time. Dad, the moment he hears his voice, the old man freezes. He finally recognizes his boy and tackles him with a bear hug so tight he can't breathe. Later at dinner, the whole truth finally comes out. The heavenly squad spills all the tea. It wasn't some mystery hero named Jyn Wigan. It was their own young Lord Yu who soloed that entire bandit crew by himself. If you think that's epic, smash that like button. What's up, guys? Changong was straight up shook because he remembered what his cousin used to look like, and this glow up was unreal. The guard was like, "Nah, for real fam, trying to bring that kid back was a straight up nightmare." But Hansu wasn't buying it. He put the squad leader on blast in front of everyone, saying they were just making lame excuses. The warrior tried to defend his honor, claiming they held back, but Pops shut him down quick, calling him short-sighted. He wasn't gonna let anyone diss his son. The kid was a walking glow-up, an uncut gem with god-tier potential. Hating on him was just pure jealousy, and the family head had no problem calling out that haterade. The big boss stood up and laid down the law. "I am picking his wife, so zip it and stay out of my business." Later, Haiyan and the others are at the table, but our boy is bored out of his mind. His legs were numb and the vibes were totally dead. Suddenly, his dad slams his drink down and drops a bomb. "You were gonna go take the state military exam. Son." Talk about a total buzzkill. But surprisingly, Uncle Hanyu actually stepped up to defend our boy. He argued that the military was way too restrictive. Even with his insane talent, the highest he could ever get was general. Haiyan watched him, knowing there was an angle. His uncle claimed a private teacher could make him a hero, not just some soldier. Haiyan's dad's eyes lit up instantly. Fame and glory for his son, he was all in and asked where to find this legendary sensei. Uncle Chang Xian, the Sword King himself, just grinned and pointed at his own chest. Why look far when the goat is right here? And he ain't wrong, a martial arts genius who soloed an entire bandit gang. That's every master's dream come true. The Namgung family wasn't just some random crew. They were heavy hitters in the Murim world with major street cred. Using their name would be a massive cheat code for his career. Plus, it was the perfect excuse to dip out from his clingy family. Only one final boss left, his dad, but seeing the sparkles in his eyes, the deal was basically sealed. If you re-hyped for this team up, smash that like button. Chong San grabbed his brother's hand, acting like he won the lottery, swearing to treat Haiyan like his own flesh and blood. The dad had been stressing big time about some drama with the emperor, but knowing his bro had Haiyan's back was a huge weight off his shoulders. Turns out the emperor was worried about the throne and wanted the Yu clan to stay tight with the heir to lock down the future. But with the old man getting emotional, the flattery game started. Chang Xian started gassing him up about the emperor's trust. Haiyan was basically asleep with his eyes open listening to these old guys. Finally, his dad left, crying like a baby and telling him to train hard. He kept nagging, "Don't skip meals. Write me twice a week. Tell me if you miss my cooking." And Haiyan just smiled through the pain. The whip cracked, the wheels rolled, and our boy finally let out a massive sigh of relief as the carriage pulled away. The old man waved goodbye with so much sappy energy it almost made Haiyan want to puke. But hey, the smile on his face was real. He appreciated the love, but the second the carriage vanished, Uncle Sion's vibe switched to full-on demon instructor mode. Haiyan thought they'd start sparring, but his uncle took him on a city tour instead. And everyone bowed to him like he was royalty. They reached a guarded building, and his uncle barked at him to climb the fortress as the sun went down. Then, the old man just defies gravity. He flew up several meters using the legendary step of the Great Void. Even Hyan's old master couldn't pull a flex like that. The man landed on the roof and looked down, waiting for the boy to follow. Hyan paused. This was the Sword King. If he used his signature moves, his cover would be blown wide open instantly. He couldn't risk being linked to that scumbag band, so he improvised crouching down and launching himself with pure physical power. His uncle just laughed, impressed by his insane body control. Hyan played it humble, bowing like a good little nephew. From the roof, Kong Song gestured at the city lights. "Hey kid, did you scope out the roads on the way here?" Hyan started sweating. Was this a test, a trap? He quickly calculated they had passed exactly 64 intersections. He apologized for being slow, but uncle cut him off. "See all that? That's Namgung turf, baby." Our boy just blinked, processing. Then Chang pointed at a gazebo way off in the distance. Then he dropped this bombshell. "Everything from here to the horizon. The city, the land, the air. It's all ours." The man grinned, flexing his insane wealth. Hyan just stood there wondering what the heck the point of this whole flex was. Our main character froze with a dumb look on his face. Did the old man want him to run laps around the entire property, or what? The Sword King chuckled as Hyan got into a running stance. "You still don't get it, do you?" Hyan tried to dash, but an invisible force grabbed his leg. He face-planted onto the roof like a total goof. Defeated by the riddle, Hyan looked up. "Uncle, please, just speak plain English to your dumb nephew." With a sly grin, he dropped the ultimate plot twist. "Once you marry my daughter, I'm giving you a slice of this as a dowry. Let us know in the comments if you saw that coming. And don't forget to subscribe for more." Yo, our main character had to literally bite his tongue to stop himself from flaming everyone. The second he figured out why they dragged him there, he knew he'd been played. That whole scary grandpa vibe totally vanished. Hun was shook by the sudden switch up, but for real, what do you expect from an old geezer trying to run game on you this hard? The old man was cheesing hard, promising to hook him up with a fire deal, but our boy was not about it. He didn't even listen. He just straight up yeeted himself off the roof. He wasn't about to hear one more word of this marriage nonsense, but the geezer chased him down with a psycho grin, yelling, "If that's not enough, I'll double it." Suddenly, our martial arts prodigy gets hit with a paced flashback of this same crazy old dude from his past life. The uncle blocks his path, still trying to sell him on the granddaughter, promising all the Namgung family treasures as part of the deal. Hun shut him down ice cold. He made it crystal clear. "I got zero plans to get cuffed, old man." Then he started spitting straight facts. He reminded the guy that he's already the heir to the massive Yu family, so he's swimming in treasure. Plus, the emperor respects his dad so much, he sends them bling just for kicks. The merchant guilds already give him whatever he asks for, so marrying into the Namgung fam for cash is pointless. He's the golden boy of a stacked family, so the geezer needs to drop this wedding fantasy. ASAP. Our MC walked off super let down, and here he thought Song was actually going to teach him some secret tech. The old man finally got the picture. This kid was born with a diamond spoon. He doesn't need their jade, but this elder ain't no quitter. He grinded his way to the top with nothing but his blade. When others gave up, he became the Sword King. He could tell Hun had a good eye for martial arts. So, at the crack of dawn, the old devil starts flexing his techniques while Hun is just like, "Why am I even awake right now?" After running through the entire royal sword art, he turned to the boy. "Pretty sick, right?" he asked, totally expecting some props. But our MC was just thinking, for real, do old people just not sleep, desperate to get a reaction? The uncle charges up his aura and just nukes a tree with his sword energy. Even then, our MC's only thought was, damn, that winter tree was probably expensive. The old man tried a few more moves, but eventually ran out of juice, figuring he'd done enough to get the kid hooked. And here comes the sales pitch. He explains these secret moves are for blood relatives only. But if the boy gets married in, he gets all the cheat codes and every single scroll. Hun saw this play coming a mile away and just bounced. The uncle scrambled after him, totally desperate, bro. Think about it, this is the Namgung style. All the money in the world can buy this kind of power. He begged the kid to just try and master it, claiming it was the ultimate truth of combat. But Armin C just yawned, "Nah, looks kinda mid to me." And you think the old man would rage, right? Nope, he just busted out laughing. He figured since Hun was a total noob, he just could see how deep it was. To a beginner's eye, real mastery looks basic, but the reality is on a whole other level. He started this long, philosophical talk about how the art was perfected over centuries. Even changing one step can mess with the flow of the entire universe. He preached, but our boy just cuts him off with, "It looks pretty easy to copy, actually." Oof, that finally triggered the uncle. But Hun was ready to drop some jaws and show him what's up. Hun snagged a random stick off the ground, thinking this would finally shut the old dude up about this marriage. Turns out, he already learned the Namgung style while getting it beaten into him by his master in his past life. He was like, might as well play the genius card again, right? The boy starts casually swinging the stick. "You mean something like this?" The uncle starts yelling, "You fool, martial arts isn't a game." But then he ate his words. Big time, the kid was perfectly copying the moves and pumping them full of actual ki. Chang Sun's jaw hit the freaking floor. He couldn't believe a kid just insta-learned the royal sword art. He screamed, "Stop! What is this sorcery? Where did you learn that?" Hun gave him the most "Are you serious right now? Look on planet Earth. You literally just showed me, Gramps." The realization hit the old man like a truck. This kid mastered a secret family technique with just one look. He was staring at a monster-level genius the world had never seen. Changong just completely blue-screened. The boy noticed his uncle looked like his brain had short-circuited. He wasn't even blinking. He tried to snap him out of it, but then saw his chance. He tossed the stick and dipped, yelling back, "I'm still not marrying her." But a greedy fire lit up in the old man's eyes. This kid was a walking treasure chest. He had to make him his grandson-in-law. Meanwhile, a squad led by Manhwa just rolled into town on the hunt for a target. They pressed the tavern owner for info and got a lead on a young dude who showed up 2 days ago. They immediately started asking around for anyone who knew about the mountain slope and the red stone. The squad confirmed the name Jyn Wigan. They had their guy. The next morning, young Namgung was already banging on Hun's door, yelling for his younger uncle. When Hun finally opened the door, Sam demanded, "Dude, why are you still in bed? Don't you know it's grind time?" Yawning, Hun just waved him off. "I done. Hey, you need to learn your family stuff. You go have fun by yourself." "Nephew," the kid was shook, but then gave him a death glare and ordered, "Get dressed. Follow me now." Hun gave him this sickeningly sweet smile. In his past life, a look like that would make entire armies tremble. But right now, he just looked like an innocent kid. So this nephew dude actually despises Hun. Even though his grandpa 1T shut up about his god-tier talent, copying moves is one thing. But raw talent does mean you else survive a real fight. A true master has to build their inner energy from day one. But Sun couldn't sense a single drop of power from Hun. Hun just turned his back, yawning, "I'd rather get some more sleep." Furious, the kid slammed a hand on Hun's shoulder. "You better come with me while I'm still asking nicely and calling you uncle." Hun was secretly amused. This kid was literally digging his own grave. He turned back with a grin, realizing this was the perfect chance to school his new student. Hun brushed the hand off his shoulder like it was dust. "You think you can teach me? I have nothing to learn from you. In fact, I should be teaching you. Nephew." This looked ridiculous since Sun was way taller and looked older. The kid exploded with rage. "I called you uncle and showed you respect. Where is all this arrogance coming from?" Hun was living for this drama. "What's up with your face? You looking a little constipated. Are we gonna train, or are you trying to throw down?" Sun clenched his fists so hard his knuckles turned white, trying not to deck him. But Hun delivered the final blow. "Go ahead and try it if you think you can, dear nephew." Hun just laughed, playing innocent while putting heavy emphasis on the word nephew. That was it. Sun snapped, "You psycho, you bully, your ego is out of control." The kid was literally vibrating with pure rage, but Hun just stood there, looking disappointed. "Is that the best you got? Even your insults are lame, pathetic." Seeing that pure rage on the young master's face, Hyan knew he'd hit a nerve, but to totally shatter that bougie attitude, he had to crank the disrespect up to max. He leaned in, dropping all the polite stuff like a total savage. "Yo, nephew," he sneered, "you got any real insults? Or are you just gonna whine?" Sun completely froze. This was, no cap, the most humiliating moment of his life. He was getting flamed and had zero comeback game. This poor kid had probably never cussed in his life. But Han, that dude was a walking dictionary of disrespect. Sun realized this wasn't just some family beef. His uncle was a master of trash talk, straight from the gutter. The Namgung clan wasn't just about sword skills. Their legendary ancestor was known as the King of the Seven Emotions Sword. Anger, joy, disgust, love. He turned every single feeling into a lethal weapon. Sun's old master used to beat him based on his mood. Woke up grumpy. That's a beatdown for Sun. Eating a good meal and feeling happy, he beat the kid while laughing his head off. Raining outside, he cried dramatically while smacking him around. It was total psychological warfare. Trying to vibe with a psycho who had 12 mood swings a day was impossible. And now, Sun was dealing with Hyan, a dude who mastered his emotions just to become the world's biggest troll. If this kept up, a future hero of the Murim world was going to get cancelled before he even debuted. Hyan grabbed his head. "Bruh, they gave me a broken student. I'm just trying to help the kid level up." But to build him up, he had to break him down first. Hyan grinned like a total psycho. "Buckle up, buttercup. This training arc is going to be hell." Sun looked hella confused, but Hyan didn't waste time explaining. "You'll get it when my fist connects with your face." Whoosh! Hyan closed the distance instantly, using the legendary heavenly winged footwork. Hyan planted his feet and wound up. "Let me show you the difference between a cheap knockoff and the real deal." Bam! He unleashed a storm of lightning fast strikes. But Sun wasn't a total scrub. He actually dodged the first wave. He saw his uncle was wide open. The kid backflipped through the air, launching a counter kick. But Hyan just swatted him away, sending him flying. "Is that all you got? Your defense is garbage." Sun saw Hyan charging again and panicked, throwing up a desperate block. Hyan smirked, pulling his fist back. "You think that weak little Kai shield is gonna stop me? Cute." Kaboom! The punch landed and Sun's eyes nearly popped out of his skull. He aimed for the one split second opening in Sun's defense and shattered his spiritual armor. Right on impact, Hyan detonated his key. It was the Namgung family's secret explosive technique. Boom! The force was so insane it blasted his poor nephew straight through a brick wall. Sun was laid out in the rubble, coughing up blood. But was he laughing? He was shook. He used our clan's secret art. Without even having a core, he learned it just by watching. Hyan mastered the flow of Kai just by seeing it once. This guy wasn't just strong. He was a heaven-defying monster with cheat codes enabled. Hyan walked through the smoke, cracking his knuckles. Get up. We were just getting started. A chill shot down Sun's spine. The tutorial was over. The real beatdown was about to begin. Hyan was literally glowing with joy as he pummeled the arrogance out of the young master. I've been waiting for ages to humble a rich kid like you. Cowering under the flurry of fists, the noble young master finally snapped. Stop it, you absolute psycho, you scumbag, you piece of trash. He started screaming every bad word he knew. Hyan paused, a proud smile spreading across his face. There it is, that fire. That's the anger you need to fuel your sword. But the poor kid didn't get the lesson. He just kept screaming while Hyan beat him with actual tears of joy. Yes, let the hate flow. Weck. Finally, a mercy chop knocked the boy out cold. Kid's weak, Hyan muttered. But he'll do. He figured he'd defeat him some rare items later. But right now, the main quest was calling. He needed to hunt down the next spiritual creature. But his memory about the servant was hazy. Then it clicked. He knew a guy. Someone who knew the exact location of the second spirit. The target Huang Dum, location, the Chaos Prison, and the timeline, the meeting with the Servant of Chaos was going down in 6 months. The plan crashed the party, take the servant's head, and stop the apocalypse before it even starts. Simple, right? Let me know in the comments if you think this plan is absolutely insane. But this was the Murim world. Things could get messy. He needed backup. He hoisted his unconscious nephew onto his shoulder like a sack of potatoes. Time for your glow-up, kid. Hyan sprinted into the distance. This time, destiny isn't slipping through my fingers. I'm not fumbling the bag. Later, Namgung's son woke up with a killer headache. What kind of monster beats his own family like that? He groaned. That scumbag uncle. I swear I'm getting my revenge. Who says a scumbag? A voice whispered from the dark. Sun jumped. Hyan was standing right behind him with that creepy smile. You weren't talking about me. Were you? No, never. Just talking to myself. Sun stammered, sweating bullets. Hyan didn't buy it for a second. Then why you shaking, pal? A couple discipline taps just to be sure. When they met the clan elders, they lied through their teeth. Oh, these bruises. Just a super passionate sparring match. Nothing to see here. Sun nervously fixed his collar, thinking sparring, that was straight up abuse. But Hyan just grinned. The young master needs intense training, and I'm the only one who can handle him. Sun realized with pure horror that he was stuck in a one-on-one hell camp with this demon. And so, the torture, training, began. 10 days of catching non-stop hands later. Something changed. Sun stopped crying and started fighting back. He channeled pure rage into his sword, and his strikes finally had that killer vibe. Hyan watched, satisfied. See, nothing motivates a man like near-death trauma. The anger injection phase was complete. Smash that like button if you think this training method is wild. Now, Hyan tossed his stick aside. Let's see if you can handle this. He launched a flying knee straight at the kid's chin. Crack, Sun went airborne. But he didn't black out. A spark of that warrior spirit flashed in his eyes. He flipped in mid-air and launched a desperate counter-attack at his uncle. Sun landed, panting, thinking he finally landed a hit. But when he looked up, nothing but fading smoke. It was an afterimage. My guy got faked out. Hyan was already standing behind him, dusting off his robes. Not bad, kid. But training's over. Let's go hit the town. Sun blinked. Where are we going? Hyan shot him a look that said ask again and you'll regret it. Sun scrambled to his feet. Yes, sir. Leading the way, sir. Hyan chuckled. The kid learns fast. They headed into the bustling city, where a beggar was collecting copper coins. Hyan walked up and flicked a silver coin into the bowl. That's big money. The beggar's eyes shot up, totally shook. Yo, it wasn't even about the cash. It was the signal. First time in a fam, he asked. You looking for your people? Bet, Hyan whispered back, keeping it on the down low. I'm trying to find a dude named Jyn Wigan. He's with the Namgung family. This might sound like some random chat, but in the streets, these codes are everything. The info network was officially open for business. 8, so this beggar is playing dumb, acting like he's never heard of the dude. But the stranger straight up spills the tea, talking about his gnarly trip across the Yangtze, where he almost got clapped by pirates. All to find this one guy. He's on the hunt for Yuhan, the one and only son of the legend, Yu Song Han. The word on the street is he's posted up with the Namgung clan right now. The dude starts bugging out, asking if he should hit up the clan head for help. But the beggar is like, not chill. No need to be extra fam. The beggar drops the bomb. They already on it. Cause Hyan's son literally just strolled right by him. They not 100% sure if Yuhan is the real Jyn Wigan yet. It's way too soon to bother the big boss. So he just tells a lackey to shadow the kid. Caging that stat on that. Dude's mad relieved to get that off his chest, so he gets up and thanks the beggar. The beggar just laughs, playing it cool, then gives the signal like, hey, we out. But hold up, drama's brewing. 2 legit beggars peep the dude in the hat and know he ain't one of them. He's been posted on Namgung turf without paying his dues to the Beggars Guild. They decide they were going to jump this guy for stealing their spot and go round up the homies for a beatdown. Meanwhile, our main character and his uncle hit up a bookstore. The son is hella confused why his uncle is copying stacks of sad boy novels. Yeah, but uncle drops some facts, saying his nephew is a spoiled rich kid who's never felt real pain. He's like, this is the only way to teach him the feels. Gree the son just gives him a blank stare, thinking his all-powerful teacher is even more bougie than he is. Then the kid flips the script, suggesting they go watch the P. King opera cause it's hilarious, de low key. He'd rather vibe there than get smacked with sticks or haul heavy books around. He tries to finesse his way out of training, asking if being happy brings peace and clarity. What a try hard, am I right? Let me know in the comments if you've ever tried to get out of practice like this. But his uncle claps back, saying inner peace is what lets you read your enemy's moves. The nephew's like, bet I got you. But he is still side-eyeing his uncle, wondering how he knows all this top-tier stuff. Just then, a whole squad hunting for the Jyn Wigan thief starts tailing them. The game plan Frey just follow the young masters and see what pops off. Meanwhile, Yuhan, who is still undercover as a beggar, tells his crew in the wheat field to lay low. They gotta snatch Nam, gun on the down low, without blowing their cover. But out of nowhere, some randoms crash the party. A whole gang of beggars rolls up, demanding cash for the spot the spy's been using. The spy's gotta call off the whole mission, like, right now. He starts trying to reason with these clowns, asking who they even think they are. The gang just laughs, saying they run these streets for their leader. Wangdal, the spy, plays the victim, asking why they were messing with him, but they just circle up, ready to throw down. Homeboy is sweating bullets. He can't tap into his inner energy, or the Namgung family will feel it and his cover's blown. He's gotta just stand there and take this L. Watching all this go down, the son asks his uncle if they should bounce in and help. He was always taught that jumping one guy is a total weak move. The uncle gives him a stone-cold look. Juhi tells the kid he has lived a sheltered life. Justice doesn't always win in the real world, and this ain't their beef. This is Namgung territory, so getting mixed up with some random street gang is just asking for trouble. It's basically just survival of the fittest out here. The son asks if they re from the Kaibang, but the vibe is off. Here the uncle recognizes the gang. Total posers with zero actual martial arts skills. Basically, this isn't some epic warrior duel. It's just a pathetic turf war between scrubs, and they've got better things to do. The second they dip, the spy drops the act. He eats one of the attackers like a rag doll, and the rest of them freeze up, totally shook. The beast is officially unleashed. Wangdal is hiding in the back like a coward, screaming at his boys to keep attacking. The spy walks up to him with this dark, killer vibe, asking if he gets how badly he just messed up. Thal is legit trembling, not getting how this victim just went full-on monster mode, cause the spy mutters something about a 1 in a million plan that can have any screw-ups. Thal hits his knees, begging for his life, but for messing up the plan. The only price is death. Basor's in front of everyone. The spy twists the leader's head clean off like a bottle cap. Sheesh. He orders his hidden crew to handle the cleanup. All the bodies just disappear, but one dude manages to dip out, totally traumatized and crying his eyes out. He knows those were not your average beggars. He's freaking out, sprinting across the field to warn the Kaibang branch before it's too late. Meanwhile, back at the crib, Grandpa Changan is absolutely losing it. He shreds a letter from his granddaughter that says she's not coming home. Hansu tries to get him to chill, reminding him he's the one who said she didn't have to get married if she didn't want to. But Gramps is heated and orders the Heavenly Squad to go drag her back. Hansu just sighs, explaining she saw already on the battlefield. She played him, timing the letter perfectly so she'd be gone before he even opened it. Changan is literally shaking with rage. He flips a whole table and screams at his son, asking how he raised such wild kids. Hansu awkwardly points out that he was the one who raised her to be a warrior for the fam. Dwarf. Talk about a major backfire. Then, out of nowhere, Gramps switches gears. If he can stop her. He'll just send Yun to the Murim Alliance instead. He dashes off to tell the kid his genius plan, but here's someone cussing in the courtyard. Thinking it's screen attack, the old man hops a whole 3-meter wall like a straight-up ninja. But what he sees has him shook on, is teaching the son how to channel sadness into his sword swings. The kid is actually thinking about the main character from his novel dying. The old man just watches, totally floored, as his own grandson gets rocked. Hyen hits a sore spot, and the son starts swinging the stick with tears just pouring down his face. Nah, he's not just crying. He's full-on sobbing. Sure, but his next swing is packed with some serious. Bottled up. Right then, Hyeon spots the old man just chilling on the fence. He has no idea why the head of the house is cosplaying Spider-Man. So he stops the training. The kid is super salty because he was finally in the zone to get some payback on his annoying uncle. The old man is shocked his grandson is cursing. But for real, he's not even mad about it. In fact, he's trying his absolute hardest not to crack up laughing. He hops down and tries to play it smooth, saying the training looked interesting. But his excuse is super weak since, it's literally his own house. Grandpa gets all serious and asks if the uncle is teaching the son actual sword arts. The uncle denies it immediately, saying they were just messing around for fun. The son gives him this look like, bro, are you for real? He was 100% learning sword arts, so he has no clue why his uncle is capping Chingan points out the kid's style is completely different from the family technique. The high-end smoothly blames it all on Han's influence. The kid is mad confused, whispering like, yo, what's the play here? What do you guys think the uncle is hiding? Drop your theories below and smash that subscribe button. His uncle was like, yo, shut your trap and listen up. It was time to learn the secrets of the legendary 7 senses of the sword technique. Han had a flashback to his master talking about pouring raw emotion into his blade, but real talk, standing there, he was straight up clueless about what that even meant. The old master just chuckled at how lost the kid looked, but hearing about emotional sword arts lit a fire. The super stiff Namgung style was finally about to level up. Han tried to get back to business, but the drama train kept rolling. Just as the old dude started spilling the tea on the Murim alliance, a servant burst in screaming for help. The servant was gasping for air, trying to apologize to the former clan head, but there was no time for manners. The beggar sec SFA branch was in deep trouble. The old man was shook, like, why are they here now? The servant dropped a bomb. A total disaster went down in Kian overnight. The Namgung knew it was serious and told Hyan, 8, kid, we gotta dip. Watching them bounce, Hyan couldn't help but stare. The granddad and grandson were straight up clones. Same dark hair, same fierce amber eyes. That bloodline is no joke. With training officially off the table, our main character didn't know what to do, so he decided to hit the streets and see what kind of mess he could get into. But yo, he wasn't alone. Shady figures lurking in the crowd spotted him instantly. The hunt for the ginseng thief was on, and they were using secret codes to signal the attack. The leader was trying to wait for a better shot. The order was given. Surround the target and snatch him the second he's solo. Too bad for them. Hyan was taking his sweet time. He strolled through the streets like a total boss, checking out every single stall. But dang, the amping market was wild. Everyone trying to give him free stuff was actually kind of stressing the kid out. Nobody here knew who he really was, and it made him miss his crew. He started wondering if his people back home were doing okay without him. But first things first, he had a mission to finish to keep the world safe, while he was plotting against the Chaos faction. He felt some serious heat on the back of his neck. Hyan whipped around to get a better look. Hold up, he thought, I've definitely seen that dude's face somewhere before. The guy played it cool and just walked right past him. Hyan shrugged it off and headed for a bookstore, until some random vendor shoved a snack in his face like, hey, try this. While munching on the snack, Hyan's eyes darted back. The stalker was still on him. As the guy passed another bench, the memory finally hit him. It was that beggar who got his butt kicked yesterday. He cleaned up good, but you can fool our boy. That dude was definitely part of the crew spying on them earlier. Time for a little surprise party. Hyan walked up with a big, fake smile like, hey, what's up? Pretending to read a book. Then bam, he launched a sneak attack right to the dome. The stalkers were totally shook. They did not see that coming. Hyan used the chaos to dip out like a flash of lightning. The goons scrambled after him, trapping him in a dead-end alley. But psych, Hyan was already chilling on the roof, looking down like a king. So, who are you guys anyway? He laughed. Why are a bunch of grown men chasing a kid? Why all got a crush on me? Or what? The air got super tense as he called them out for scurrying around like rats. He locked eyes with the leader. That nasty, I'm gonna wreck you look on his face confirmed it. This was definitely the clown from yesterday's mess. Silence is pretty loud, right? Since they weren't talking, Hyan knew he was on the money. His brain was on overdrive. Are these dudes from the 9 Dragons, or just some greedy ginseng hunters? But these guys were way out of their league. The gang signaled each other with hand signs. Taking him out would be easy, but he's the son of a big shot. Touch him. And it swore with the authorities. They needed proof first. The leader yelled, yo, are you Jyn Wigan, the one who swallowed the legendary pure ginseng? Hyan hit him with his classic Jyn who never heard of the guy, but the villain wasn't buying his innocent routine for a single second. But here's the crazy part. To absorb the pure ginseng, you need master level Kai release. And looking at Hyan, the kid looked like he had zero magic, like a wet noodle. On the inside, Hyan was dying laughing. His training with Master Kabanu let him hide his power perfectly. These chumps couldn't sense his aura if it smacked them in the face. If they were after the ginseng, they were definitely connected to the Servant of Chaos. Hyan decided right then and there, I'm not running. I'm gonna catch all of them and squeeze the truth out. He thinking the kid was a nobody. The men bowed, are bad, kid we re-out. But Hyan was not about to let his targets just walk away. He stepped right in their path, leaving so soon. The party is just getting started. The leader snapped. This is a waste of time. Just knock the brat out. Hyan smirked as the goons charged him, but before they could even touch him, an invisible force sent them flying. Boom. Folding his arms like a certified G, Hyan grinned. What's wrong? I thought you said I looked weak. Let us know in the comments what you think is going to happen next. The leader's jaw straight up hit the floor. How did he do that with zero inner strength? Hyan could literally read the fear in his eyes. So, Hyan asked super calm, are we going to do this or what? Come at me. All at once, fighting here was a pain, so he decided to switch up the location. He grabbed the 2 unconscious goons, threw him over his shoulder like potato sacks, and just vanished. My dude was moving at the speed of light. These assassins were fast. One of them almost sliced him, but Hyun dodged the blade by a hair. Then he saw it, the perfect building for his master plan. He yeeted the unconscious dudes onto the roof like he was sinking a three-pointer. The whole building started shaking, and people started screaming, "Get out, it's gonna collapse." But that wasn't enough chaos for him. Hyun wanted total destruction. He wound up and delivered a nasty kick straight to the main support beam. Crash, dust went everywhere. As the building crumbled, Hyun walked out of the smoke. "You guys are fast," he laughed, then put his fingers to his lips and blew a super loud whistle. The gang leader froze up. Sweat started pouring down his face. He finally realized that this whole plan had gone completely sideways. "You knave fools," Hyun smirked. "You followed me all the way from Hefei? Well, guess what? You're about to meet the Namgung clan and the beggar sect." The leader's face twisted up with rage. "You dirty little rat." He knew that if those two massive factions showed up, his whole crew was toast. "Take him down and let's go," the leader screamed, pulling out his sword. But Hyun just stood there, smiling at their desperate attempt to escape his trap. Hyun kicked a huge piece of rubble right at them. "You can hide behind rocks," they yelled. Hyun's eyes flashed ice cold. Who said anything about hiding? Smash that like button if you were hyped for this fight. He dropped a major hint. "Dipper, you redone for." Honestly, it was a straight up miracle they even survived the 12 chain cuts. But then, out of nowhere, a voice made his skin crawl. "Yo, watch your six, newbie." It was that same sword dude from before. Hyun just smirked at their little team up, then snatched the guy by his throat. "You call yourself a master, bro, you left yourself wide open. What a total amateur." Realizing it was game over, the assassin straight up popped a poison pill. He literally chose to unalive himself right in Hyun's grip. Hyun was shook by that level of commitment. But when he turned around, he saw the real horror show. The enemy leader was right there. His blade stuck right through the guy Hyun was about to grill for info. Talk about cold-blooded. He offed his own homie just to erase the evidence with one sharp order. The rest of his crew bounced like they saw a ghost. And just like that, the chase was on. Hyun was so over this, he yeeted the poisoned body aside and was like, "All right, but no more Mr. Nice Guy." He closed the distance in a blink, forcing one of the runners to turn and face him. "Please?" That weak sauce blade was a total joke to Hyun. He wasn't even worried about this small fry. He only wanted the head honcho. But then disaster. They split up at the main road, making everything way more complicated. If even one of them gets away, it's going to be a major later on. But plot twist, Hyun ain't the only one hunting tonight. These assassins were running straight into a trap. The Heavenly Squad and the Hao clan were posted up on the rooftops. Just waiting, Hyun got this psycho grin on his face. Now he could go full beast mode on just the leader. Still, Hyun had to flame him a little. Ayo, what took while so long? Meanwhile, the leader was sweating buckets. If he gets caught, his whole master plan is totally cooked. He chucks a red ball. Kaboom! A smoke screen so he can dip out. But when the smoke cleared, that young monster was already gone from his rear view. Bam! A fist connects right to his face. Hyun had teleported right in front of him, cracking his knuckles. Hyun laughed. "Just give it up, my guy. Your whole crew is already bagged and tagged." The busted up leader screamed, "Who even are you? You've been sandbagging on your power this whole time." But Hyun just wagged a finger. "Nah, fam, the winner asks the questions first, loser." Hyun asked who he was, but got totally ghosted. The boy's friendly smile turned dark real quick. The silent treatment. "That's cool, we were all alone. And I've got all night to make you spill." The man gripped his sword, his hands totally shaking. He knew it was checkmate. His boys had chosen the forever sleep, and he was ready to join them. If he was going down, he was going to try and take this demon with him. Hyun saw that look in his eye instantly. He knew exactly what this desperate clown was about to try. Hyun's super chill attitude was driving the assassin insane. "Is this all a joke to you?" But Hyun was dead serious. No one else around to watch. "Dope. Time to one-shot this fool." The assassin, totally fueled by rage, prepped a lethal counter to slice the boy's throat. He was betting everything on Hyun rushing in like an idiot. He waited for that one perfect opening to hit the neck. Just one mistake, but big yikes. "My guy, you messed up bad." He wasn't dealing with some random fighter. Hyun was about to school him on power levels 101. If you think this next move is going to be epic, smash that subscribe button right now. Invisible energy slammed the ground, making the whole earth tremble. His stance looked like he could literally hold up the sky. The man saw the fist go up and thought, "Yes, just faking, right?" A nasty blow crushed his solar plexus before he could even process it. Hyun grinned down at him, surprised. That's the lost Shaolin art, the 100-step fist. To master that, you gotta take 100,000 punches to the face. For real? Watching the dude cough up a whole river of blood, Hyun thought about what to do next. Can he really chat here? He decided to just haul this sorry mess back to the Namgung clan. But suddenly, some scruffy-looking dude jumps in. Hold up a sec, it was Paexin, a branch leader from the beggar sect. He asked if he could just get a quick look at the prisoner. Hyun shrugged. "Knock yourself out." Paexin's crew leaned in, and their eyes just about bugged out. "Boss, this dude looks exactly like the thief the bomb squad was talking about." Paexin respectfully asked, "Please, let the beggar sect handle this piece of trash." Hyun grimaced. He knew these guys were slick, trying to snatch his prize after he did all the heavy lifting. Just then, Namgung's son comes running in, screaming his head off uncle, who wrecked your fit seeing Hyen's torn clothes. The kid got heated. Who wants to catch these hands today? After 10 days of insane training, he was finally acting like a ride or die. Smack. Hyen smacked him on the back of the head. Shut your trap, you dummy. Son teared up. Why you gotta hit me while dodging another slap? Meanwhile, Paxson was straight up sweating. This captive was no scrub. Even his goons were clear release masters, and this kid just soloed them all. Paxson immediately dipped into a deep bow, apologizing for underestimating the young beast. Hyen got straight to the point, so why are all so thirsty for this guy? The answer was chilling. The scumbag took out the entire gang by himself. They flipped the question back on Hyen, so why were they coming after you? Hyen played it cool. Wrong place, wrong time. They thought I was someone else. Who do they think you were? Hyen shrugged. Beats me, but I roll with the great chew bowl. And I done let nobody push me around. Paxson narrowed his eyes. He knew this kid was capping. But Hyen realized this was a clutch opportunity. The bad guys came to him, and now he had witnesses to back him up. If Hyen dragged this guy back to the Namgung fam by himself, he wouldn't have the juice to make him talk. He just didn't have that kind of pull yet. These assassins were deep state level. If they found out Hyen was onto them, they'd go ghost or hit back when he wasn't looking. If they knew their spy crew got totally smoked, they'd put even more heat on the Yu family. Hyen couldn't risk that. He needed someone else to take the heat. And the beggar sect was perfect for the job. The beggar sect was the perfect shield. If they started digging into this, they'd uncover the chaos cult's entire scheme and basically start a war with them. This would buy Hyen some major time. He just had to give him a little nudge. He dropped a hint. Super casual. I think there's a big bad monster pulling this guy's strings. He whispered the words over turned sky. Paxson's eyes lit up like a Christmas tree. He had to have this prisoner now. He started begging the young master like his life depended on it. Hyen went into full-on drama mode. I feel you, I do. But bro, I almost got taken out catching this dude. He pointed to a tiny paper cut like it was a fatal wound. He shot a look at his nephew. Like, bro, play along with me here. But son totally panicked. The signal went right over his head, and he thought his uncle was actually dying. Son's brain was working overtime. He was digging through his memories. Wait a minute, he didn't just learn how to fight. He learned politics and math too. A light bulb went off. He shouted, yo, back up. Stop bugging my uncle. Hyen's face was like, dude, wrong script. We were trying to find us them, not fight them. But Paxson wasn't giving up. He bowed even lower, his voice trembling. Please, the honor of the beggar sect is on the line here. The Namgung heir tried to act all tough, saying he didn't need to beg for anything. But his uncle shut that down immediately. The Uncle Hound told the beggars he'd clean up their mess, but he had 2 rules they could not break. First off, nobody could know he was involved, period. Gloss in second. If they found out who the target was, he needed to know ASAP. God the Hare was hyped and just handed the goons over to the beggar sect, sealing the deal. The beggar sect leader was satisfied with the arrangement. He even swore on his name to keep his mouth shut. Kara with the contract locked, and both crews dipped and went their separate ways. Hyen strolled home with a massive grin on his face. Meanwhile, the beggars felt totally scammed because they basically got stuck doing all the detective work for free. But the beggar sect's branch head had to slap some sense into his crew. Here they were too dense to realize the code turned the sky upside down meant a straight up coup. Somebody was making a play to take over the entire Murim world. The rookies were completely shook. Kay the boss explained that if they figured out who was targeting the Murim Alliance, it would be their golden ticket to the main headquarters. And fam, this was a legendary come-up. Realizing how high the stakes were, the subordinate snatched up the prisoner. They hauled him off to their boss to get some answers. That night, Hyun couldn't get any sleep at all. Treya's mind was racing a mile a minute. By getting involved, he had officially hit the butterfly effect button on the whole timeline. Staring out the window, he started plotting his next move. Bars in the original story. A clue about the second treasure wasn't supposed to drop for another 6 months. But since he snagged the spirit ginseng early, history was getting a major rewrite and fast. The stakes were way higher now. If his enemies were as strong as he thought, they weren't just gonna sit around. Without the ginseng, they speedrun their whole plan to get their hands on the second treasure. Hyen had a brand new main quest, find Hwangdu Cam right now and stop the chaos before it even starts. He told the old Namgung clan head he was bouncing to the Murim Alliance. Yo, the old man was so hyped he almost jumped right out of his skin. Hyen said he wanted to get some experience, but Gramps had a totally different plan. He agreed to write Hyen a recommendation letter, secretly planning to set him up with his own granddaughter. My guy wanted that wedding to happen like yesterday. Hyen couldn't care less about the romance plot, but he played along to get the green light to leave. But our main character had one more condition. He was dragging Sun along for the ride. Cray needed a partner in crime. Judging by the hare's shook face, nobody gave him the memo about this sudden road trip. It was a sticky situation since Sun was the hare and had major duties to the clan. But surprisingly, Hyen flipped the whole script. Here he argued that a future leader has to see the world to be ready for his future responsibilities. The hare stood up all polite, trying to dip by saying he had to discuss it with the clan head. Son looked at his uncle, completely floored, knowing the old man almost never changes his mind. And Hyen was ready with the ultimate bait. He casually mentioned that the Murim alliance was home to the 5 beauties, the absolute baddest women in the righteous sects. With a slick smile, he acted like it was just a random thought. Broadbutt Gramps was locked in, listening with 1000% focus. The second he heard beautiful girls, he was totally sold on the idea. Hyen knew exactly how to play him. He went straight for the old man's desperate wish to see his grandson get hitched. To seal the deal, Hyen dropped a few more hints on his way out, though he muttered about how fate is a crazy thing. Maybe he'd meet someone, maybe a wedding, maybe some great grandkids. Spring was in the air and love was blooming, that was the last push the old man needed. The grandfather screamed for an immediate family meeting. Taev unwalked to his room, literally skipping, celebrating his absolute WB. Meanwhile, down at the Yangtze River, a sketchy-looking ship just docked. A serious-looking dude in fancy robes was barking orders to guard the cargo. A worker tried to hand something to the Lord, but the guy politely refused at first, but the employee kept pushing, playing the whole Simon, we all family here card. Suddenly, another official ran in, telling everyone to wrap it up and go get some breakfast. 3 dudes in black and gold robes marched right off the ship. Everyone wished them a safe trip, but that polite employee was secretly shooting daggers at their backs. Terry hated these corrupt officials who only knew how to waste money. Once the ship set sail, the man rushed down below deck. The coughing, he warned someone in the shadows that the sailors wouldn't be back down until they reached Wuhan. A fugitive decked out in expensive clothes stepped out from behind some crates. He promised to pay the rest of the smuggling fee when they arrived. Failure was not an option. The only thing left in their way was the notorious black whale pirates. The fugitive watched another group transferring to their ship and just prayed they had enough cash to pay the toll. Back on the main deck, Sun is totally losing it on his uncle. Des trying to stop Ian from doing something reckless, asking him why he's not even a little scared of the pirates. The hare tried to explain the situation. Des sure, beating up pirates sounds cool and all, but the collateral damage from that would be insane. Hyen didn't know the local politics, but he knew he was op enough to wreck anyone who got in his way. Sun realized his uncle was clueless. He explained that beefing with the Yangtze pirates would kick off a major disaster. A fight right here wouldn't just be a small skirmish. It could spark an all-out war with the entire Yangtze River gang. Hyen looked at his nephew like he was boring him to death. Was this kid always such a drag? Sun decided to pull out the big guns and mention the legendary monster his own grandpa had to fight, the water tamer, King Gasaji, the dude they call the monster of the sea. Hyen still looked totally unimpressed. Sun begged him to just sit down and chill out. If they started a problem here, every single crossing on the river would get shut down, costing their family a fortune. Hyen looked at his nagging nephew, and bam, he smacked him right on the back of the head. The son teared up, asking why his uncle was being a bully all of a sudden, but Hyen just ignored his whining. He thought for a second. He'd never even heard of this water tamer king, but maybe it was better to just lay low this time, just to be safe. Meanwhile, some seagulls were just flying peacefully overhead. A sailor on watch was squinting at the horizon. Suddenly, he screamed his head off. The black whale pirate ship was coming in hot. All-out panic erupted on deck. Everyone rushed to see what was happening. The second the pirates stepped on board, the ship's captain went into full bootlicker mode. He greeted the pirate leader, Kudok, asking him how he's been doing. The pirate just smirked and greeted him back, but the captain laughed nervously, saying everything was great thanks to Kudok's protection, and then ordered a sailor to bring out the bribe. A chest full of gold appeared instantly. The pirate leader looked pleased. The system was working perfectly. Sun saw the cash exchange and started to relax, but then the pirates didn't leave. Hyen, just chilling against the rail, muttered, "Why is everyone stressing when the ocean view is this nice?" The pirate leader announced that the toll was paid, but he had a little side quest. He was looking for a very specific person. The man hiding below deck started sweating absolute buckets. A Kudok asked if everyone was on deck, or if someone was down there playing hide and seek. The pirate gripped the captain's shoulder with a super creepy smile. He said he knew the captain sometimes smuggled illegal passengers. He promised he'd let it slide, as long as they handed over the dude they were hunting. This sailor was straight up quaking, like getting paid is cool and all. But my dude is trying to keep his head on his shoulders. You feel me? Survival is priority number 1 right now. But even through the panic, he snitched, told him someone was hiding out in the cargo hold. Captain Kudok sends his goons to check it, and this one loudmouth pirate starts power tripping, yelling for everyone to fall in line or else. They swore they were only after one dude, saying everyone else was safe. But for real, who's gonna trust a pirate? The passengers were totally bugging out, knowing this whole situation was about to get real messy. So this goon scans the crowd and spots Hun, who's just vibing, staring at the ocean like he ain't got a care in the world. The pirate stomps over and, smack, clocks him on the back of the head, yelling, "Yo, are you deaf or something?" Sun, watching from the side, is absolutely shook. He's not praying for his uncle. Nah, he's praying for this clueless pirate, cause my guy is about to catch the fate of a lifetime. Lucky for that goon, a massive commotion erupts from the hold before Hun can even blink. This dude walks out, cool as a cucumber. After folding all of Kudok's men, the captain is straight up seeing red. The fugitive looks at these pirates, totally unimpressed. He's like, for real? Kibben sent these low-tier NPCs to catch me. Man, that's a next-level roast. Oof, that one stung. The pirate completely lost his cool, whipped out his sword, and charged. The capture him alive order went right out the window. This dude was out for blood. Meanwhile, Hun's just chilling on the sidelines, analyzing their fight game. He gives a little nod, thinking okay. My guy's got some slick moves as the fugitive dodges a deadly slash. Then, out of nowhere, Hun just yoinks the sword from the pirate who hit him and leaps right into the fight. Sun tries to stop him, but Hun freezes solid, his eyes locked in the stranger's arm, as another pirate rips the guy's sleeve. It exposes a red snake tattoo. That ink, Hun knows it. It's the mark of a legit legend from the Kaonu Union prison. His name is Hwang Dok-sam, the dude who's the key to the treasure Hun's been chasing. A massive grin spreads across Hun's face. Looks like our boy's luck just turned all the way up, fam. Sun is screaming for his uncle to chill, but Hun ain't hearing it. He barks an order, guard the civvies. If a single one gets a scratch, you're getting 2 days of anger training? Man, poor Sun. The nephew's got no choice but to whip out his sword and get ready to protect the innocent. But he looks at the mob of pirates and knows, yeah, I am kinda outnumbered here. He's gotta go all out. Sun channels his inner chi, swinging his blade so fast it kicks up a literal windshield. The passengers are looking at him like he is their guardian angel. Even in the scrap, Sun's keeping an eye on his chaotic uncle. At the same time, Captain Kudok throws a heavy blow, and Hwang has to dive out of the way fast. But the captain put way too much sauce on that swing, leaving himself wide open. Hwang sees his chance and gears up for the counter. This is it. It's go time. But then, boom, Hun flashes between them, blocks for Hwang, and plants a nasty right hook on the captain's jaw. Talk about a crazy plot twist. After dropping the pirate, Hun turns to the fugitive. Ayo, you Hwang Dok-sam. The shocked look on the dude's face says it all. Jackpot. Hun tells him, look, I saved your butt because I need some answers. Then, with all the swagger in the world, he faces the pirates. I need this guy, so what's it gonna be, boys? Are we all gonna dip, or do I have to wipe your whole squad? The pirates are frozen stiff, but while Hun's busy being a total badass, he turns around and, poof, Hwang straight up vanish. Hun sprints to the railing just in time to see Hwang dive straight into the ocean. My man is swimming for his life out there. Oh, Hun is so salty. Bro, I just saved your life and you were gonna ghost me. Not even a thank you. Meanwhile, Kudok wakes up, still seeing stars but mad as hell, screaming for his crew to go get him. His loyal goons don't even think twice, jumping right into the water. Without even looking back, Hun yells for his nephew, son, get over here, now. He gives Sun his mission. You deal with Kudok. Mess this up. And you've got a full week of anger training. And let me tell you guys, anger training is just Hun-esque code for beating Sun till he passes out. Scared stiff by that threat, Sun makes a vow, I will literally die before I let him get away. Now that's what you call motivation by fear. While Hun cracks a smile, then dives right in after Hwang. The second he hits the water, he launches forward like a human torpedo. Kudok's jaw drops, asking Sun, what kind of monster is that? Even Sun is tripping. He is thinking, since when did my uncle learn high-level water techniques? This dude is just full of surprises. He remembered Hun saying he was swimming to lose a few pounds. But this is some next-level stuff. Then the pirate makes a big mistake by asking Sun who he is, reminding him of his mission. Total domination. Sun's whole vibe changes. His eyes go cold. Who am I to you? I'm the guy who is about to end your career for messing with innocent people. And with that, Sun just starts wailing on the captain. Meanwhile, out in the ocean, Hun is gaining on his target, screaming, Mr. Hwang, stop playing hard to get, man. Some rookie pirate actually thought he could jump Hun in the water. Bro, you have no idea what a bad decision you just made. Hun dodges, bursts out of the water, and literally uses the pirate's head as a stepping stone to launch himself into the air. He's treating this like his own personal parkour course. They say legendary masters can cross water on a single leaf. But our boy Hun, he's crossing the ocean by bouncing off pirate heads. In seconds, he lands right in front of Hwang like, yo, chill out. Hwang is completely stunned. He thinks he is seeing a grandmaster use the legendary flight over water technique. That's a straight up god-tier skill. But Hun just waves it off. Nah, no magic here. I am just built different. But Hwang still isn't giving up. Hun just sighs, man. Here we go again. Hun ain't got time to play tag. He blows right past Hwang's guard, grabs him by the collar, and bam, slams him right onto the beach. Hun just sighs. See, all that wasted energy. I just want to chat. Hwang scoots back, freaking out. Why would I ever trust a psycho like you? Psycho? Yo, Hun looked genuinely hurt by that one. Like the dude just met him and he's already throwing shade. Done with the drama, Hun just taps a pressure point on Hwang's chest. Just chill here, while I take out the trash. We'll talk after. Hwang tries to scream, but Hun hits a few more spots to mute him. He basically put the dude on pause for a bit. Hun wasn't trying to be mean. He just couldn't risk his walking treasure map from running off again. Right on cue, the rest of the soggy pirate crew crawls onto the beach. Hun just looks at the mob and starts calculating the quickest way to clear the server. As the whole crew charges, Hun just smirks. Perfect. Time to test out some of those Tang family techniques. He thinks to himself. He remembers his master's words, a true master can weaponize anything. In the right hands, even sand can become lethal. Back at the fortress, he used snow, but here, he scoops up a handful of pebbles and unleashes them with insane speed. It's like a literal pebble machine gun, shredding through the pirates. Boom, headshot. God, our boy just pebble sniped 4 goons before they could even blink. God, the rest of the crew was straight up shook. Hun pauses for a sec, remembering his nephew told him to chill out. Yeah, like that's ever gonna happen. A psycho grin just splits across his face. He's like, easy fix, laughing like a total madman. God, just gotta delete all the witnesses. The pirates try to bounce, tripping all over each other, but nah. Nobody's outrunning Hyan's blade game today. And the trash mobs are cleared. Now for the main event while. He strolls up to the captive and hits his pressure points, basically forcing a full system reboot on the dude's body. The second Han can talk. He gasping. Who the heck are you? God, our main character drops his fake gamer tag with 0 chill. The name's Jyn Wigan. Hyun keeps a straight poker face. He's not sure if this dude is rolling with the Chaos crew. So he can go showing off his real power level just yet. A time to figure out how to juice this guy for info. So he decides to play bad cop. Listen up, homie. You get 1 shot, he says, his voice dropping low. Where's the 1,000-year shell stashed? Yo, Hoang's face goes ghost white. Him bingo, our boy knows he hit the jackpot. To spill it. He demands, hungry for that sweet loot, but the dude just stutters, zipping his lips and acting like he knows nothing. Our young master just smirks, playing along with the act. For real. He gets up, cracking his knuckles loud. Guess I'll have to check that out myself. And he starts stomping the guy like an empty soda can. Nighty night, pal. Hope you start talking before I plant you in the ground, the backyard, the mountains. Yo, I'm not picky. This poor dude is clueless, thinking he just ran into a complete psycho. She, meanwhile, son finally makes it to shore. She wondering why his uncle took the fight way out to the middle of nowhere. Then he sees the beatdown in progress. Dang, his uncle goes way harder on strangers than on him. Commendal note, stay clear when he's in beast mode. He turns and yells at Kudok, the pirate playing engine for their getaway boat. Yo, slow down. Man, Don Tiro so fast. The pirate just groans on the inside. Bruh, make up your mind. A minute ago you were screaming at me to go faster. But the pirate keeps his mouth shut. Just you wait till the big boss gets here. These two are so done for. And we flash forward 4 hours. The hostage finally wakes up on the boat. Door only to see that creepy kid grinning at him like a little demon. Still not talking, huh? Sure, since he ain't spilling the tea. It is time for round 2 of the pain game. True, but all of a sudden, one of the pirates starts cheering like he just hit the jackpot. The captive gets all smug. A game over, little punks. And looming over them is the legendary Black Whale flagship. Kairi talking a floating fortress of doom with huge black sails. Kudok immediately starts talking trash. Why all are so dead, a smack. A fist shuts him up real fast. Garam MC just grins. Looks like our party guests are here? But son, yeah. He is not feeling this vibe at all. Uncle, you promised we delay low. He is totally bugging out. Kardam MC just shrugs, too late for that. Kiddo. Kara with a savage laugh. He eats himself onto the enemy ship. Hey, clean this mess up for me. Would yay. Bro, it wasn't even a fight. It was a straight-up curb stump. Pi in seconds, our boys turned that massive ship into splinters. Kai now there, S just pirates bobbing in the water, holding on to whatever S left. Kudok shuts his mouth and just keeps rowing, praying he's not next on the list. The pirate chief is watching this whole thing go down, totally baffled to wait. Is my own dude working for them now? A minion swims up to the chief's board, freaking out. Sir, should we fire the red signal flare? If we do that, the chief grinds his teeth. The boss is gonna know we went off script for this mission. Forget the consequences. It's better to get chewed out than let these punk kids trash the Black Whale's reputation. And the red light just blasts into the sky. Is a call for the monster who runs these waters. Meanwhile, miles and miles away, Subom, the great advisor of the Alliance, gets the emergency call. He slams his fist on the desk. This happened 2 hours ago, where the report says pirates are swarming the river mouth. Draw holding the checkpoint hostage and demanding to get through. The whole room goes dead silent. That red flare ain't he a party popper. While, it's basically the we all gonna die, but only used for world-ending level threats. So why was it fired? Sabam is roaring now. We don't know yet, sir. You useless fools, 2 hours have gone by and you got nothing. He cracks his knuckles on the desk. If the pirates are scared enough to pop that flare, then whoever they're fighting is a monster, his eyes narrow. Tsier, and the enemy of my enemy, is my new bestie. Get word to the Green Dragons right now. They deploy to the western checkpoint on the double, shut down that protest and lock down the target. We absolutely cannot lose the Wuhan waterway. Asabam pauses, his mind racing a mile a minute. Where exactly did they fire that flare from? It's somewhere between Ain and Hubsert. A cold sweat starts dripping down the man's forehead. That S Black Whale territory. Which means he's there. The water monster, the tamer of the deep. What's the tamer's location? He snaps, and you can hear the panic in his voice. Garentel says he's near who, sir? Sabam is connecting the dots on a mental map. Zhu Yang's. Wuhan and the monster is way too close for comfort. Who do we have in that area? He asks. I need our heaviest hitters. The young wandering dragon just checked in for the hidden dragon exams. Paying for the first time, Sabam cracks a smirk. Perfect timing. And we cut to a tavern where the young wandering dragon is just trying to chill with a drink. Suddenly, the news hits the street. Hey Kitchen, looking all scared and rugged, just rolls his eyes. He can't do get a drink in peace around here without all this gossip. His boy is completely wasted, face down on the table. Dutchin tries to pull him up. Bro, for real, your liver is begging for a timeout. Why are you like this? He finally just shouts right in his ear. The drunk dude blinks, drooling a little, looking super annoyed. Gay, what do you want? I was having a dope dream about dumplings. My uncle is putting me to work, Dutchin sighs, whining about his life. And you re-shipping off to Shenzi tomorrow for that big gang war? This is it, dude. Our big goodbye. Zar, but his drunk friend just gives him a blank stare. We need to say a proper farewell. Are you even hearing me right now? The dude lets out a dangerously wet burp. Duna, I am good, he mumbles, before passing out again. The Dutchin just looks at him with pure disgust. Is nasty. He tosses a bag of coins to his servant. Grigo find the beggar sect crew down at the crossing to tell him to sweep the waterways north of Wuhan. Asap. Meanwhile, the drunk guy pukes his guts out and is suddenly stone cold sober. Tai, his eyes get super sharp. Hold up, the water tamer might be making a move. Even though he's a hot mess, he can let his boy walk right into a trap back on the ship. It's total chaos. Fei Hun and his nephew are on deck while all the passengers are losing their minds. Son is watching his uncle S6, just chucking pirates overboard. Her uncle hit pause on the beatdown for a sec. Hey, he points out at the water. Her whole freaking fleet is heading their way. These guys are like cockroaches. You take one out, 10 more show up. Kai can get any info out of the hostage? With all this going on, KRMAC grits his teeth. Kakudok, is there any land around here? We need to make a pit stop. But then, a shadow just dives out of the sky. Adra crash. Landing on the deck is some random beggar. Psych, it's the young wandering dragon himself, Cade Decan. He flashes this super confident grin. Ka-8. Listen up, this ship is now officially under the protection of the Kanmu Alliance. He glares daggers at the pirates. Grady suggests you bounce while you still can. He slid over to Hyen like, yo, chill. I got this, but then he got a good look at their guest and it hit him. Oh heck no, it's his trash tier teacher. But the ship slammed to a stop anyway. Hennes' jaw dropped. His teacher, the infamous Chu Bull, was actually taking orders. The whole crew crossed their arms, giving a gangster welcome to the final boss of the Ants Reaver. Spotting a seriously bougie boat nearby, our main character knew this was no random pit stop. That's the king who tames the waters, and fam, he is way too close for comfort. Well, so much for the plan. The boy started screaming at the rowers to turn the ship around, but it was pure chaos. The crew started bugging out like total noobs. But a U-turn in a boat takes ages, and they were about to get totally clapped. Suddenly, the man just waved his hand and, boom, unleashed an energy wave so nuts it froze the entire ship solid. Hen knew right away this dude was on a whole other tier. The guy just hopped onto their deck. The Water King looked kinda small and wary, but his bodyguard, that dude was an absolute unit. And now, for the introductions, everyone started stating their names, and Kuchin stepped up to flex his title as the Can Ambassador, trying to suck up to the River King. So this clown son dropped his family name trying to act all cool, and his boy Duan tried to flex his status too. But nah, dude got straight up shut down before he could even finish his sentence. If you think that S Savage, smash that like button. The bodyguard moved at the speed of light. He had the kid in a chokehold in a literal flash, staring down our main character who just barely dodged the blitz attack. The Pirate King just busted out laughing. He couldn't believe some 20-year-old rookie actually tracked his guard's movements. A master who had perfected Shining Chick. Seeing his boy getting choked out, Hyen switched into polite mode. He hit the elder with a, yo, why is a legend like you messing with a kid? Isn't that kinda bad for your rep? And wild enough, the guy actually listened. He called his guard back. Gotta keep up appearances. Right, he let the kid go, flared his aura, and demanded they spill the tea like, for real this time. Hen was sweating buckets. They were so close to the finish line. And this guy just had to crash the party. One wrong word now, and he's getting a one-way ticket to the respawn screen. The kid started freestyling a lie on the spot. We were just, vibing on the river. And then these super mean pirates started messing with regular people. The king just smirked. So you thought you'd deplay the hero and save him? Hyen was nodding like a bobblehead, but the king's killer aura was basically screaming, I know you're recapping, bro. Full-on panic mode was engaged. What was the play? Suddenly, a light bulb went off in his head. Hyen told the elder he was from the Yu family in the Henan province. The king might not know that name in the martial world, but Hyen made sure to mention he had some serious government connections. My dad used to be the crown prince. He's literally kicking it with the emperor in the capital right now. Talk about a major flex. His strategist teacher always said, if you can outfight M, outflex M, and if you got no connections, just lie bigger. But the king just shrugged. He couldn't care less whose son Hyen was. Hyen was shook. His bluff got completely shut down, and he was seriously starting to think his teachers gave him the worst advice ever. The elder grinned. I'm a pirate for life, kid. The law already hates me. So I don't give a flip about your fancy clans or who's running the country. Hyan was getting heated now. He was in a totally hopeless situation, trying to protect his crew and his deadweight teacher. On top of that, he had a whole hostage tied up in the cargo hold. He was completely out-leveled. He probably couldn't even put a scratch on the Water King's guard. But hold up, the divine strategist taught him one last move, the art of negotiation. You either gotta overwhelm him with power or tempt him with loot. Hyan took a deep bow and begged the elder to just hear him out one last time. He tried to play it smooth, claiming he was just reporting his status, and was definitely not trying to disrespect the big boss of the river. The king looked mad skeptical. What's the play here, kid? Hyan politely asked for mercy, even though he knew this dude probably sinks ships for fun. With all due respect, Hyan said, I'll make it worth your while. He figured since the guy's a pirate, he's gotta be all about that bag, right? The old man paused. You talking about money? Hyan nodded fast and shot back. Just name your price, elder. Suddenly, the king just exploded with laughter like a total psycho. Hyan was super confused. Did the idea of cash really just make this old dude lose it? Whoosh! The king straight up teleported into his personal space. I like you, you little punk. Hyan totally freaked out and jumped back to get some distance. The king pointed over to the cliffs. Peep this, a whole squad from the Kanmu clan was posted up, all of them holding swords and ready to throw down. But they were just standing there, the king asked, so why aren't they attacking? Hyan had no clue. The situation seemed pretty straightforward. Didn't he it? They were doing the math, the king explained. They talk a big game about justice, but really, they were just calculating what's going to be best for their bank accounts. Fighting the pirate king would mean taking way too many us. So the king grilled Hyan. So why are you trying so hard to make a deal to save everyone? Hyan knew his lies were toast. But was this guy seriously going to believe that he needed these randoms to literally save the world? While Hyan was trying to think, the elder was sizing him up. He respected the kid's guts. But he just couldn't get a read on Hyan's power level. A low-level player shouldn't be able to see his guard move, since he couldn't figure him out. The king decided to run a little test. Money isn't the answer to everything. Boy, he gave the order to attack. Hyan had no choice but to dive in and save his student. The beggar just froze up and Hyan screamed, Dodge, you moron. Getting distracted by his useless crew, Hyan almost got himself deleted. He realized the only way to win this was to end it with one perfect shot. His opponent was a master of shining chi. If this fight dragged on any longer, Hyan was finished. He needed a one-hit KO. Right now, he started charging up the purest natural chi. This energy was on a whole other, godlike level. He knew the guard wouldn't be able to block or dodge this attack. But then, the guard smirked. Just then, the pirate king jumped in and, bam, he shut Hyan down completely before he could even land the hit.